Let's get to this night. It's not going to be a lot of foreplay tonight. I want to get into this subject. Let me get a mic check, you guys. You guys know I can't talk to you unless I get a mic check. So, I know everybody who's watching isn't a fan. As some of you lurking weirdos, you hater motherfuckers, you lurking weirdos. Okay, there's a lot of y'all out there watching this as well. So shoot me a thumbs up. Don't worry, I won't tell anybody that you was watching me, though you don't like my channel. It's all good. It's 2023. I'm accepting all the love and all the hate. You know why? Because both of them pay. Thank you, Lily. Okay, good. I'm good. So, welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. I'm YouTube's devil's advocate, bad girl, whatever you want to say. Jen, okay? You guys already know I'm on the block with Jen on all social media platforms across the board, okay? TikTok, which is doing well now because I'm on the hashtag Latina follow Latina trend. There's a hashtag on TikTok, follow Latina trend, and it's like it blows up your follows if you're Latina because all the Latinas follow you and you follow them back. So it's looking better on TikTok, although I'm not a fan. It's looking better on TikTok. Okay, so you can reach me on the block with Jen, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and also on the block with Jen at Gmail. If you want to email me a topic or a suggestion, that's my little suggestion box. Also, if you want to email me about a collaboration or an interview, anything like that, it goes in there on the block with Jen at Gmail. If you want to support the show, who doesn't like support, right? If you want to support the show, you see it floating there on the bottom on the block with Jen Cash App, or you can hit me at the super chat, the little dollar sign on the bottom right. You guys know the routine. If this is your first time here, welcome, honey. Sit down, get comfy. It's nice to see you. If you're one of my regulars, what's up, mi gente? So I dropped the link early. Tonight's episode is interesting, as they are all, right? But I saw a lot of canceling, a lot of cancellations, right? Within the last, I'd say the span of 48 hours, right? And I want to ask the question tonight. This is the question I want to ask tonight. Is cancel culture losing its effect? Is cancel culture losing its effect? I say yes. You may disagree. Let me know why, okay? So, as you guys saw on my thumbnail, and I'll bring my people up in a minute. So you guys saw my thumbnail within the span of 48 hours, okay? The beheading and cancellation, okay, has been called. The witch hunt has begun. The pitchforks, okay, the lanterns, everyone's running up the hill to pull Dana White, Bad Bunny, and Skip Bayless out of their damn houses and drag them down to the town hall or square or what have you. And they want these men stapled to a block and stoned to death. Or as we like to call it in 2022, 2023, canceled. They've all their cancellations have been called for. Cancel, right? Is cancel culture losing its effect? Now, a lot of people, when they say, cancel Skip Bayless, cancel Bad Bunny, cancel Dana White, I call it, okay? Oh, you mean promote them for the next 24 hours and make sure their names are in the algorithm and make sure whatever projects they're connected to now has more eyes on it, right? Because that's what canceling someone results in. I know you guys like a good cancel, and you think that it results in the destruction of this person, and they'll never work in this town again. Long as we cancel them on Twitter, long as we cancel them on it, they'll never work in this town again. But we've seen the opposite effect, where it's like the best marketing and promotion that any celebrity can get is quote unquote being canceled, right? People that never heard of certain people, when they cancel them online, then we all know them. We all know who they are. So is cancel culture losing its effect? Now I'm going to get into why these three men, in case you've been under a rock and just don't give a damn, which both are fine, why these three men have been called to cancel, have been called to the cancel town hall, right? I'm going to get into that and bring my people up. But, so far, these three guys in the last 40 hours are supposed to be canceled. And I'm going to talk about the hypocrisy of cancel culture and how some people are above it. I can name some people: Dave Chappelle, Dana White, who we'll discuss tonight. Some people are beyond that let's cancel thing. We're living in strange times. We're living in very strange times. It is like we're living in two extremes. People are hypersensitive, right? Hypersensitive, or fucking dead to the world emotionally. Then there are the people in the middle like us that just talk about it and say, what the fuck is this? What is going on? So we are hypersensitive. We're curled up in little balls, crying, you know what I mean? Taking our depression medication and upset, and everything makes us emotional. And if you poke them, we fall apart. Then we're all the way on the other side. Like, niggas die every day, B. People go to jail every day, B. People die every day, B. Who cares, right? Two extremes. And I want to talk about that tonight. All right. You guys are always welcome up to the panel, as you know, along with my panelistas. Or you can debate and argue amongst yourselves or with each other in the chat. Either way, you're welcome to come up. Of course, with caution. Okay. Because don't think that this smile means that you're safe here. Okay. All right. Let's go.
This is not a safe space.
We say that, but you have to be. It's like you got to be jumped in first,
right?
Okay? You got to be jumped in first to make you safe.
That had me laughing. I'm up here backstage laughing. What's up? No Saint.
Look at No Saint. We can't hear you.
I'm on mute. Hey, Lily.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. I'm loving the hoop earrings. I am loving the hoop earrings, I must say.
the door knockers.
Yes.
Yeah, listen, I came in a t-shirt. I said, you ain't got to see the tits all the time. I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, people get tired of the titties.
Well, not really. Not really.
Like keep them in suspense. Like,
right? Every now and then we got to cover them up. And plus, don't you believe my shirt?
Yeah.
Come on, I'm trying.
You're trying. You're getting off to a good high vibrational start for the new year.
I'm trying. Don't hold me to it. It may die down by March.
Right. You getting cussed out. Everybody getting cussed out.
Right. Geez. Lily, No Saint, welcome. Happy New Year. This is our first show of 2023. I hope there are a million more because I love bringing us to the world. The world needs us, if I do say so myself. Mm-hmm. The world needs us, okay? I am claiming it. I am stating it. The world fucking needs us, all right? Along with a lot of people on YouTube, right? I'm getting a lot of compliments about the panel and how people like coming up and the discussions that we have. This cancel culture thing used to be like the death of someone's career, their job, people getting fired, okay? There was even a song online, you gonna lose your job, or you about to lose your job, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Right? You about to lose your job. Because canceling someone was a big deal. Everybody was afraid of not saying certain things because they didn't want to be canceled. People have attempted to cancel me. I took it as a compliment because I was like, oh my God, I'm not even that famous yet. But if you guys think so, cancel me, baby.
Well, I don't know if you put in On the Block with Jen, because like whenever I have to like do something with the show, like send somebody something, I put it on the Block with Jen, and all these videos that people have done about you come up. Right. And I just have to laugh. I'm like, now I see, okay, like she's got the promotion. I'm like, did you send them Christmas cards? Like, oh, you don't celebrate. But if you did, I'm pretty sure.
But you know what? I should have sent them like a box of chocolates or something. Okay, because these people keep me in the algorithm. They're the ones that blew up my subscriptions. And that's why I said earlier when I started, I said, I'm sending out the love to the love and the hate because they both pay. Don't get it twisted. Okay, the love and the hate pays. And I would say the hate pays more because the people that love you don't even talk about you as much as the people that hate you, strangely enough.
Right.
Strangely enough. But that's the human dynamic. That is how people are. When they hate something, they talk about it, they talk about it, they talk about it. And then people get paid. So I don't mind. This cancel culture thing. So for the last 48 hours, I just want to really quickly get everyone up to speed. So Bad Bunny, a lot of people don't know who Bad Bunny is. A lot of people do. He's a reggaeton artist out of Puerto Rico. He is Puerto Rican. Okay, he's Puerto Rican. He is the most streamed artist for the past, I don't know how many years. I don't want to misquote. For 2 years running, Bad Bunny, born Benito Ocasio, has been named the most streamed artist on Spotify in 2020. The rapper clocked up to 8.3 billion streams on the platform, which was more than any other act by a large margin. Okay, he's a global artist. So congrats, Bad Bunny.
Mm-hmm.
So the other day,
because they've been trying to cancel him for a minute, but go on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the other day, Bad Bunny was walking in a little crowd in the Dominican Republic. He just finished a fucking global tour. I went in Vegas. My friend got me tickets. So I was there. You know what I mean? Amazing show. The energy in there was amazing. But let's get to what Bad Bunny did the other day and why he should be canceled. So he was walking in a crowd in the Dominican Republic. He's just coming off this tour. So he's doing the, okay, I want to be normal thing. Like I'm a superstar, but I just want to go back to the hood. I just want to be normal.
Yeah.
Fans are gathering around him and running like, hey, Bad Bunny, blah, blah. So this girl walks up to him with her phone in her hand while he's walking, and she runs in front of him and she's doing this, right? You know how you do with your friends, like, hey, this is a live, blah, blah, blah. This is my friend, blah, blah. So she was doing that, right? And he walking in front of him while he was walking. So he grabbed her phone and threw it.
Okay.
Chucked it. And not like chucked it on the sidewalk on some grass. Chucked it in the river that was adjacent to the sidewalk he was walking on. So now there is pandemonium, and how dare he? The fans made him. If it wasn't for us, cancel Bad Bunny. Right? Now he released a statement and he doubled down. He said, I am a person. I love meeting my fans. Introduce yourself to me. Say something to me. Say hello, right? If you run up on me and put a phone in my face and don't even address me, I'm going to take disrespect and I'm going to reciprocate with disrespect. So he doubled down. He's like,
good. Because I was praying that. I was praying this statement didn't come with an apology, but go on, because I can't stand apologies, but go on.
Name one apology. So his demographic is split. Some of them are like, he shouldn't have did that. We made him, blah, blah. And his fans are like, we don't care if he chucked her in the river. Okay, that's Bunny, right? So there are two extremes here, right? Dana White got into a slapping match with his wife on New Year's Eve at a club. Married 26 years, Dana White, UFC. You guys know Dana White, UFC. Got into a slapping match in the club, right? Real ghetto love style on New Year's Eve.
I did catch that. I caught that one.
She slapped him, he slapped her. I don't know about anyone else, but they look pretty comfortable slapping each other.
It looked like their normal demographic. Like normal dynamic. Yeah, it's like, okay, that's how they get down. Yeah.
And then he released his statement. Hey, listen, we've been married almost 30 years. I've known her since I was 12 years old. We love each other. We don't care what anybody has to say. All we're worried about is our kids. Take it or leave it. Good night, TMZ. We can fast forward to Skip Bayless, who's been trending a couple times for shutting down Shannon Sharpe, for just not giving Shannon Sharpe his accolades or props. People were like, how dare he, Shannon Sharpe? And for those of you who don't know, Skip Bayless hosts a show with Shannon Sharpe, a sports show. So Damar, I hope I'm saying his name correctly, but Damar Hamlin had a horrible accident on the football field. Died on the field. Okay, he was resuscitated twice, once on the field, once in the hospital. He is in critical condition. He's just a baby. He's 24 years old. I mean, that's a baby to me. He's 24 years old. He's in the hospital, and it's touch and go. So Skip Bayless made a statement about them canceling the game and can they cancel the game. I don't have the correct quote in front of me, but I'm sure you guys have seen it by now. Basically just stating, how can they cancel this game? It's important to blah, X, Y, and Z. Cancel Skip Bayless. How dare he? That young man could be dying. How dare he comment on football when something in football happens while the football games are happening? How dare he talk about football when this young man's life is way more important? Cancel and fire him. I saw a lot of people saying fire him. It's about time he get fired. And I was like, am I in the fucking Twilight Zone? I know I got the t-shirt on. I know I got to do the nice thing. I'm doing the best I can here. But
they're making it hard.
Right. But I'm like, wait, fire? And you know, I don't give a damn about Whitey. Love you, no saint. But I don't give a damn. Like, I don't give a damn. Like, whether or not he keeps that job or doesn't, he'll be okay. He is a white man in America.
He's a millionaire, by the way. He's not going to starve.
Right.
Right. Like, he'll be fine. Like, he doesn't need my tears or my defense. Or so I'm just, I want to put that out there before I say what I'm going to say. Why should Skip Bayless lose his job? Right? Because he made a statement about the games, not about the boy. He did not say the boy should pass away. He did not say the boy is not worth this hoopla. He just said, yo, are they going to cancel the game because it's important to X, Y, and Z? Blah, blah, blah. And then he, you know what I mean? And that was the one tweet, of course, that went viral. But then he also said nothing is more important than his life, and blah, blah, blah. And he's praying for the family, blah. But if those aren't going to go viral because those aren't news.
Right. And no one's going to go look and look for themselves and check the context. Yeah.
Of course not. I mean, people don't read past headlines.
Nope.
So cancel. Bad Bunny cancel. Dana White cancel. Skip Bayless cancel. Everybody get canceled, right? And I don't think people realize it is literally the best marketing and promotion that you can get is this quote unquote getting canceled thing. And what I do notice the celebrities are doing, and this is why I'm begging the question, cancel culture losing its effect, because now what I see celebrities doing is doubling down. Right? Before they were very apologetic. Remember, them apologies were coming out like hotcakes.
Oh,
somebody said something. It was like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, Joe Rogan, that whole apology did at 5 minutes. Now, not so much.
Good.
Chris Brown has doubled down. Now you got Bad Bunny doubling down. A couple of people are like Marlon Wayans has doubled down. A couple of people, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart. So celebrities are like, this is what the fuck I said. I'm tired of the whole apology.
Right.
This is what it is. So do you think, you guys in the chat and on the panel, is it losing its effect? And also, I want to get into the hypocrisy of it. See, Dana White is like, I don't give a fuck what y'all think. Peace. He's worth $500 million, right?
Right.
So is it a tax bracket thing? Is it also a race thing? Right? Because anytime, if you notice, a Black or Latin person was called to get canceled, it was by Black and Latin people mostly.
Especially women.
Yes.
Especially women. Because we still don't know what's going on with Chrisette Michele. Like, they still ain't brought her back from the dead yet.
Right. Because she's saying for Donald Trump.
Which is insane. I don't want to get back into that because we got a lot to talk about here, but insane. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, we could touch on that too, because that's a great point. Where the hell is Chrisette Michele?
They won't bring her back. They refuse to bring her back, which is, like you said, hypocritical on so many levels. So many levels.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And I love her song, Blame It On Me. Oh, I love that song.
She's so talented. She's so underrated. Even before all this happened, I was like singing her praises and how underrated she is as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was discovered by Jay-Z and back in 05, 06. First time I heard her was on like one of his tracks. And I was like, she sounded like a Nina Simone type situation. Yeah. And I went to find her and I was like, 25? I'm like, She sounded like an old throwback. And then to come to find out she writes and produces and just she's
Wow.
so talented. She's
Well,
so
she's
talented.
talented. She's talented.
Yeah. Old school talented.
That, you know, it's such a shame. And I wanted to add to the Bad Bunny thing that this isn't the first time I've seen him do that. There was another concert where, because he's very much involved with his fans, right? There was a concert where he took, you know how sometimes concerts now, everybody has a cell phone, so the fans like reach out and try to give the celebrity the phone so the celebrity could be like, hey, and do a little selfie on that person's phone and give it back. So he was doing that at a concert way before this incident. And while he was doing that and like signing an autograph, someone else from the audience, I guess, got excited and threw their cell phone at him. So he did the same thing. The cell phone hit him though in the leg. So he picked the cell phone up from the floor and chucked it to the other side of the arena. So it's not his first time chucking a cell phone.
Okay, I'm going to say this. I am one of the nicest people you will ever meet. That is really my nature. I can stand on that. Anybody who's ever spent 5 minutes with me will tell you that. Anybody who's ever spent any more time than that and really knows me knows that there's that other side of me too. And I'm it's not pretty, right? So I do everything possible to not let that person come out. But anybody who knows me really truly knows me. If you hear a story like that, you know they did something. They deserved it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm prefacing with this to say I get it. I'm not excusing it,
Mm-hmm.
but I get it. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, you know, I'm not trying to be funny, but like people recognize me in places and stuff like that. And sometimes it's really like, this is new to me, right? So, and I'm nowhere on the level of a Bad Bunny. And I've had some experiences that it's like, oh, this is going to take some getting used to. Because the reason why is that they mean well. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times they don't treat you human.
Mm-hmm.
And that can get like, and we're human. We have so many things like, and it was a show that we did recently when we were talking about celebrities taking themselves out of here because we always have to be on, especially when we know we're on camera. And that's what people don't understand. So when we're not on camera, this is our moment to be human. This is the moment to feel I feel it, especially if we are balanced. Right? Especially if we're ones who know how to turn it off. Because there's some celebrities that don't know how to turn it off. I feel sorry for them. Right? But ones that like, okay, now not working. No, I don't even take out my own camera when I'm with my friends and family or I'm by myself and I'm deciding like this is a leisure day, no work. My camera's not coming out for myself, you know? So sometimes, like, okay, I'll give you an example. I've had people just walk up to me and hug me.
Oh
yes, many times. Like before hello, because I'm a friend in their head. So
right,
you know, I've had them rub my head. I've had them touch my face. I've had them taking the videos without a hello, right? And you don't know what a person is going through in that moment. You don't know what's going on in that moment. And then you just hit them with that and they just hit you with something. It happens. It can happen. The nicest person. There's celebrities that are well known for being extremely nice. And even they have their breaking point. You know, as much as we want to say about Kim Kardashian, she's notoriously nice. But with her sometimes she has to flip out, or there's people who are like notoriously nice, but every now and then they just forget you're human. And it's the celebrity culture in this country is just very warped. It's very warped. Our priorities are very just in a really weird place at this period of time. It's worse than ever. You know, so that's my take on it.
Yeah, that's another subject as well. The celebrity worship. It's really, really weird. But we've been seeing that since Michael Jackson, since people have been passing out and crying and throwing themselves on the floor and in front of oncoming traffic to get close to him. So the celebrity worship itself is weird, right? But that's a dynamic we're going to get into. No Saint, what say you about these three gentlemen who are needing to be canceled this week?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a few dynamics to this. Hopefully, it is fading away. There are some people that are too big to cancel. Some people have too much money to cancel. So you have, if you're not famous, you're not at a threat of being canceled, right? Like I run a YouTube channel. I'm never going to get canceled. I can say whatever I want. It doesn't matter. They're not going to cancel me because I'm not big enough to be canceled, right? Nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the people, and we've talked about this before. You got Howard Stearns, and you got, or the people like Elon Musk, people with billions of dollars, the owner of the Clippers or whatever. Like, he kind of got canceled, but he's still a billionaire. Not really. He sold the team for billions of dollars, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's not going to affect as much. I'm hoping that in the the ones like Skip Bayless, the guys that are rich, but the difference in some of these, like I'm not familiar with Bad Bunny that much. I do know the other two. I do know. So Dana White, he runs something that's worldwide famous. I mean, it doesn't matter what he does. People are going to tune in and watch the MMA fights or the, his empire. So good for him, right? Skip Bayless, I saw his apology today. It was pretty. I was thinking to myself, when I saw what he tweeted, I'm like, man, he's just under pressure from the network.
Yeah.
Because what he said, there wasn't anything wrong. Basically, he was worried. He was worried about this player.
Okay.
But he said, wow, he's a sports guy. He's just making comments. All he said was, I don't know how they're going to make that game up. Like, you're within the last 2 weeks of the season. That game is going to decide who has home field advantage in the playoffs. That one team that gets home field advantage gets the first week off. Well, we're into week 18. Coming up next week is the last week of the season. How are they going to make this game up? They're not going to play it this week.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, all that being said, I don't know if it even matters. Like, he said, this is horrible. This is the worst. It wasn't like he was saying they should play this game. He was just doing what sports people do. I don't know how they're going to make it up, but I don't think it even matters. It's ridiculous that we give the Twitter mobs and these people this power, like, to dictate whether someone has a job. I think it's ugly. It's an ugly part of our society. I think it's a part where people want to pull down people. They build people up and they want to tear you down. You know what I mean? We all root for the underdog, and then say Tom Brady, he was a 6th round pick. We root for him the first 1 or 2 Super Bowls, and then you start to hate him. and they
want to watch you get back up too. They have a 6 fixation of knocking you down and watching you get back up. They like
that's true too. But you're correct on that. But it's. I hope you're right. I hope this is going away and people are just saying screw this. But who we really need to participate in, we need the backing of the people that literally cancel you, which are the people that run the networks.
Right.
In some cases. But yeah, I think some people are handling it well. I don't think Bad Bunny. I understand where he's coming from as far as like Lily was saying, there are tons of celebrities and they could be the nicest people in the world, but they don't know you. And I feel that way sometimes, that you're watching somebody interviewed for 20 years and you feel like, hey, that's a good guy. I like that guy, or I like that woman. You do. The person watching feels like they know, but they don't understand that the person on the other side doesn't know you. So I get where he was going. He is liable. He for the cell phone. If he hits somebody, it's against the law. You can't really do that. It's not against the law to do what the girl did, videotaping him. He's out in public, but I totally understand where he's coming from.
Do you think he should replace the phone?
Yes, he's by law.
I do think if I break
by
the
law,
phone,
he has to. I mean, if she wants to sue him, I don't think it's worth suing him. But yeah, he is liable for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But this is my thing. Like, when it comes to this cancel culture, the fact that it's even a thing is annoying to me because it borderlines, if not censorship.
Holy.
And I loathe censorship. Like I really do, because it's such a slippery slope.
Mhm.
And I always tell people, if you rally around with the pitchforks today to cancel someone, what stops them from rallying to cancel your ass next week? Because eventually you're going, unless you just have no opinions of your own, then you're safe. But if you're a person with a sentient brain that can think for yourself, you're going to go against the grain at some point.
Mhm.
And then they're going to want to cancel you for something. You don't know what it is. So you can't see, a lot of people can't see the forest through the trees. It's like, that's just to censor thoughts is insane to me. You're allowed, like I always tell people, like, you're allowed to be an asshole. You're allowed, to me, in my opinion, you're allowed to be a homophobe. You're allowed to be racist. You're allowed to be sexist. You're allowed to be, like, you have the right to be an asshole. You have the right to be ignorant. Just don't put your hands on someone. You know what I'm saying? But you're allowed to be all of those things. And they should be allowed to have their audience. And if you don't fall in that audience, leave them alone and go about your business. So the real question is, who and why, where do these people get this energy from for people that they don't like? That says more about them than it does the person they're trying to cancel.
I think that's a great question, and I've often thought it comes from a place of social media has allowed the have-not, right? It's the haves and the have-nots, right? And the people that are acting like the haves.
Yep.
It's the first time the haves have had power over
Absolutely
the haves, right? They can't touch them. They can't eat where they eat. They can't buy the clothes that they wear. They can't, you know what I mean, vacation. They can't get the car. They can't, but I can touch you if me and 50 of my friends decide to cancel you and hashtag your name. And I think that's what it is. These aren't even fans. They couldn't care less. And 2 days, 2 days past, they're not even thinking about that person, but they do get this weird satisfaction that they're able to cancel something they can't be a part of. It's kind of like, oh, we can't sit at your table. Well, we'll take your table. Me and 50 of our friends are going to take your table. And I think that's where it comes from, is people that are unhappy. I'm sure Lily, you too, anyone in the entertainment industry doesn't see celebrities or stars like the average person sees them, right? We see them like these are our peers. At any waking moment, we could be on set, such and such can walk in. It's happened. Such and such could be at that party. I got this such and such in my contacts. So we see it differently. We're looking like networking, working. That is what we're thinking. We're not thinking, oh my God, it's Oprah. Oh my God. Oh my God. So we're not there. We're not looking at it from that way. So I've always known that celebrities are just regular fucking people. It's just their job entails they are on your TV, but it's a job. And I've been stressing that for years since I started on with Jen. It's just a fucking job.
We need to continue to stress that.
It's a job. I don't care how many times you see them in a movie. I don't care how many times you see them in a print ad. I don't care how many times you see them at the Grammys. I don't care how many music videos. It's just a job. It's just the job is behind your TV screen. That's it. It's just
that's it. That is it. I've been telling people that for years. That is it. That is all there. That is it. Because you think about it like this. A lot of people are trash. Okay? All right. So then you add, that's just the population. Okay. So then you put people who are on TV, and you got to realize once to get on your television, at least in the past, there was a lot of brushing up and cleaning up and manufactured to make sure the person's presentable for television. But behind the scenes, they're just probably just a trash individual with trash beliefs and trash behavior and just trash. They just happen to know how to act. They just happen to know how to sing. They can captivate audience. And this is another thing that I'm really big on. I'm really big on this, is that two things can exist in the same space. right? So they can be trash and talented. And I'm going to acknowledge both things because both things do exist under that one person. Because guess what? We're humans and we're polar. You're like, we have polarity. Like, that's just how it is. That's why I don't like the apologies. If you did it, you did it. Own up, keep it moving. I will never apologize for anything I said because guess what? I meant it.
Let me say something. This is what was so crazy about Skip Bayless, because I tuned it in. I saw something online saying he apologized for a tweet, so I rewinded the show and tuned it in. And here he is. He gives his heartfelt thing about what happened and then he apologizes. He's like, listen, we're here. We debate, like Skip. Shannon Sharp wasn't on the show today, and I'm not sure why. I didn't get the note. I don't know if because of that or it was something else. So he's doing it pretty much alone. And he's saying, like, we debated whether we're going to do this show, but we're doing it. And so part of the show is talking about sports. So I'm sorry if we're offending anybody. I really apologize. I may even be offended. He's sitting there apologizing for doing a sports show. Now, if I'm turning on a sports show, it's because I want to see sports. Right. Why are you apologizing to somebody? Because somebody's going to get on Twitter and say, look at Skip Bayless doing a sports show after this tragedy. You're bowing down to the lowest common denominator. And what you said, Jen, is 100%. I was thinking I was going to say it later. Like, it's the powerless getting power and able to pull people down that they feel are more successful, maybe more glamorous, and have a name. And that's all it is. And it's hard for people that grew up the way we did to understand that, because it really is ridiculous at this point. I mean, now there are consequences for things you say, right? I mean, if you're a race, if you're famous, I mean, there's certain jobs. I mean, like my job, if I'm a racist and I start using racist terms, they can fire me. I get that. But that's somebody who is running a business and is paying you. Right. These Twitter people that's all, and I think we've tricked the companies and the TV stations into believing that that's the majority opinion. And I really don't think it's the majority opinion that people have.
I like the idea of, I think canceling itself should be let the people decide, right?
With their money.
Let them decide. There's a couple of people I canceled that I'm like, I don't even talk about, like Hulk Hogan and Dog the Bounty Hunter. And it's like, right. Martha Stewart, not Martha Stewart, the other one, Dean. Like, there's some people you just cancel in passing, like, okay, that's how you feel. Well, you don't need my money or my time. Yeah, right. You don't need me watching your channel or your show. That's fine. And I go on about my business. That's that simple for me.
I just never mention them again. That's it.
Yeah, you just keep it pushing. You guys know I lived in the Bronx last time on Burnside Avenue. Mayweather used to be on the corner of Burnside and Jerome. Anybody from New York will know, on the corner of Burnside and Jerome, off the fucking 4 train. There was a Dominican restaurant there. He was always there with his entourage, his motorcade of 10 cars, and everybody, and I would just be the fuck annoyed, right? Because one, it was hard for me to get out of the train station, walk through there, and then I used to get food from there, and I'm like, I don't care that Mayweather is in there. Are you guys serving food or not? That was my attitude. But it's the Bronx. So everybody's like, oh my God, Mayweather's there. People coming in, taking pictures. I don't give a fuck. Are you serving food and what time is it going to be over?
That's it.
That was my attitude. I don't care that Mayweather's out here. Same thing out here, because I think he lives out here and he's always floating around.
Tracy Morgan does it a lot here too.
Oh, see?
In the same spot.
I know Tracy from back then. That's why he's over there on Burnside. I know Tracy before he got famous.
Yeah.
Now he's, Tracy Morgan.
Yeah, Tracy Morgan, exactly. But he does the same thing. He opens his Rolls Royce and makes sure that he's seen, and he sits like in the same. I'm like, child, please.
Yeah.
I'm
it's just gonna hold up traffic is my question.
Right.
That's all I want to know. How long is this going to take, right? But the majority of people, they're so enchanted, right? This is a celebrity, and that's the general tone. This, oh my God, I see this person on TV all the time, and here they are. And in that same vein, I think we should let the people decide who they're going to cancel. Now, the good thing about the cancel culture is that there's so many people that are going to like an artist no matter what, and
Yeah.
there's so many people that are just like rebels without a cause, and they're like, fuck you, I'm not going to let you cancel my favorite comedian or my favorite singer or my favorite model. I'm not going to let you cancel them. So it's always split, I think, for the general cancel culture. Now, if you're working for a network, that's different. You have to get on TV and grovel for your job, basically. I didn't see the Skip Bayless apology, but I'm sure he can get an Emmy for it. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I can just imagine the fuckery. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that is cancel culture ever necessary? What's up, Tez? Is cancel culture ever necessary? Like, have you ever seen a celebrity do something and you're like, oh, wow, this one needs to be canceled?
I will say, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier. To me, I personally draw the line at violence.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where I personally draw the line at, when you incite violence. And that's coming from a community who I represent, two communities who face a lot of violence. Mm-hmm. And I hear dog whistles. I recognize dog whistles too. But in those cases, when there are dog whistles, I silently just, but if it's outright, it's like, come on now, like, because I mean, I consider certain people, when they use the Bible as a weapon, to be a dog whistle for violence against certain people. Or religion in general. So, but then there's the flat out, when people say things like just flat out, then that's when I'm like, yeah, like that's just really irresponsible, because you have an audience and you know what you're doing.
Correct. The ones that act like, oh, I didn't know 500,000 people were going to go after you because I said something, or I didn't stop you from saying something. Do you think that with the Bad Bunny situation, do you think that he's teaching people boundaries? Do you think this is like the new, like, look, I understand I'm a celebrity, but we have boundaries? Because he did say right after he chucked the phone, like, chill with my space, like y'all doing too much. Do you think he's teaching boundaries, or do you think that he should have bodyguards and that's that?
Oh yeah, well I forgot about the bodyguards. He could have been that's a part that, because this is the thing, I always look at the part I play in a situation first. Mm-hmm. Let me rule out the parts that I play and own up to my part, and then I'll be like, okay, now this is y'all. This is y'all. This is mine. I'm owning mine. You all do whatever you want with yours. You can own it, you cannot own it. I don't care. So is he setting boundaries? Yes. Could he do it in a better way? Yes. Do I blame him? No. So, that's my take.
That's fair.
I think that I mean, certainly he's giving giving his fans a notice, but I think that I'm always on the side of try not to risk escalation, because you don't know who you're messing with. There are people out there that take your lives for throwing their phone into the river, So bodyguards would be nice. Everybody thinks they want to be rich and famous. I'm going to quote something that Bill Murray once said: try being rich. You can get everything being rich that you can get being famous. So you're getting it from someone who's rich and famous. The famous part's not always the thing. You think you want it, and then it becomes a problem. So you got to realize when you're in that space. Yeah, you don't want to get, I just think he bodyguard would be a good thing. I don't think he's really setting boundaries. I think he's taking risks that he probably shouldn't take.
Right, because she could have, I mean, even though I felt like she was in the wrong and I feel like she was invading a space, she could have attacked him. You don't know what's in that phone. You don't know if the last note she wrote or the picture
right.
can't retrieve it. She doesn't have a cloud. What if
Right.
those aren't in a cloud? You know what I mean? She could have attacked him, and that would have turned into a whole thing. So, you know, I think he should have tight security moving forward. He's a very, you know what I mean, he's a very round the way guy. Before Bad Bunny became famous, I mean, he's in the hood in Puerto Rico. And I think that it's hard, and because he blew up so quickly, right?
That's not easy.
It's not. So he's probably still trying to transition into this. Hold up, people are running up to me and shit, but I'm just the guy from Puerto Rico. I'm just the guy from La Pela. So it's probably, you know, he's navigating this life as well. And then people are attacking him and talking about him. But I will say that, again, not that he or Skip or Dana need me to fucking defend them. These guys are global, all of them. You know, he is very much the activist. Okay. Bad Bunny's very much the activist, right? He's always looking out for the underdog. A couple seconds before that incident, he was walking with a little boy and talking to him and giving him his time. I'm just not one to believe when, and I hear a lot of people have done this, you know, over our years. I'm sure you guys have heard it too, where they say, "Oh, I met such and such, and he was an asshole."
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I don't. Yeah, child. Whatever. I don't pay no attention to. It's got to be a steady, and then I got to consider the source. Like, there's certain people in the industry. We've heard things about people from reliable sources, and it's like, you know, everyone's saying the same thing. Everyone's not telling the same lie. But when it's like a random TikTok user, an Instagram user, you know. And then they just say, I gives that nothing because I already know.
Right.
Well,
it could be many things.
Yeah, and I try to give them the benefit of the doubt too. Like, I've heard, now there was a thing with Tom Cruise back in the 90s, like Interview with the Vampire, where he wouldn't let because I ran around with the extra circle, and they were like, extras weren't allowed to look at him or anything, right? I shot a thing with Tom Cruise where he came up and shook my hand, and he bought coffee for the, I was like, not a feature, I guess, sort of like it got cut out the movie anyway, but it was like and he was nice as can be, and he was nice to and I don't know if Scientology had something to play with that, like he was trying to, hey, they think I'm weird, let me just but then there's like you said, I hear other people saying, oh, I'm like, well, maybe the person had a bad day. Maybe it was that day. But then there's people like Sofia Vergara, I think. Is that how you say it?
Or even Ellen.
That is I've heard it from more than one person working on stuff with her, that she's something else. She's not what she seems.
Really?
So,
That's tea. That's tea. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that was the same film that she was working with. Who's the Legally Blonde actress?
Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, and Reese Witherspoon was super nice. So and I've had, and that's another thing. You're from New York, and you both are from New York, and people from LA. And even when I know Brad Pitt and those, there's a few celebrities that used to walk around here, and locals wouldn't bother them, right? And in New York, I'm sure it's like, okay. It's they're regular people, right?
You see them all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. But when you get into places that don't see them as much, and they just see them in movies, they don't really know how to handle it as well. And but I will say, and I understand how film has to do this, but they even within when you're filming, when you're on location, they put a hierarchy between the actress and actors and the extras. They make a level, like, this is the extras line, you don't go over here, and you go. I get it, because if you didn't, you'd probably have a million people wanting to take selfies and things like that. But there is that hierarchy even within the film industry to make them look like they're more special than everybody else. You know what I mean? I don't know.
You know what?
Background work. I quit doing background work. I loathe it. Like, when I'm not in front of the camera for a while, I'm like, let me go do the extra work just to be on set and in the environment, and and then I'm like, whoa, this is why I don't do extra work, because they do like treat them horribly. And I understand the separation. I can totally
get
understand.
it. Yeah.
If you want to be treated like that, then be that. It's that simple.
Right.
I'm not emotional about it. If you want that, then you go get that. Don't be mad that what's over there is better than what you got. Make sure that you're over there too, right? I'm like 1 + 1 = 2, but they still, in my opinion, treat extras bad.
And it depends what production too. There are certain productions that, like, for instance, Meathead, Rob Reiner, Meathead from Archie Bunker, Rob Reiner, the director. He's a real. I mean, he comes up and he'll sit next to you and chit chat. Woody Harrelson was extremely nice. There are a lot of that they don't listen to the. But I, like I told you, I do get it. There's certain productions that treat the extras better, and then there's certain ones that are it's horrible. You know what I mean?
They treat them like cattle. I'm
right.
Like,
and I'm thinking to myself, like, the way they were. So there was one production from ABC that, first of all, I'm a firefighter, right? And you've got people there that are retired that probably have a lot of money, and it was a huge cattle call, right? And they're yelling. I mean, people that are. I'm thinking, you don't know. I was like, some of these people are professionals, lawyers. Some of them are retired, and I'm thinking to myself, dude, I mean, I don't have to be here. I'm not gonna. And then I'm sitting there looking around, and they blocked every exit with their equipment. There was only one, and they had pyro. I don't know if it's pyrotechnics. They had some kind of fun. I'm thinking to myself, this is illegal. This is not legal what they're doing here, And that was the one time I actually reported it. I actually did report to ABC in New York. Like,
why did they block the
They blocked all the exits because they had, like, it was a huge scene. And it was in almost like a ball, like there was supposed to be a bunch of politicians. But anyway, it's all their equipment. They had all this extra equipment, and they blocked every exit except for the one coming in. And I'm like, okay, so if a fire starts there, all these old people, and there were a lot of old people in there too, they're going to have deaths here. I'm thinking to myself, and then, I never forget the fire alarm, because they were running smoke and the fire alarms went off, and they're telling everybody, don't leave. Everybody sit down. I'm thinking to myself, the fire alarm's going off, and they're telling people not to leave. What's that?
I don't feel bad, because the last time a couple years back I did extra work, I almost got into a fight with one of the PAs. Like, literally, I was ready. Like, I put my bag down. I said, okay, we could do this if you want.
Yeah, right.
It was a freaking a game show. Alfonso Ribeiro was doing a game show out here. And they had like the people in the audience or whatever, and then I was just like, I did one, and then they asked you to stay for the second one, and I'm like, you know what, no, I gotta go, I'm done. Like, I was getting antsy. I'm like, this is why I don't do background work, I gotta get out of here. And she was telling me I couldn't leave, literally blocking the door.
Right.
That's called kidnapping.
Right. Hello, that's what I said. I like literally, like, in front of the door, like, well, you can't leave. I said, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna let me out, and I'm gonna put your back down. I said, this is gonna happen. You're gonna get out of my way, or there's gonna be an issue here, and production is not gonna be the only problem you have. What do you want to do?
Right.
Like, I was like, well, how dare you? Who do you think you are? Like, people can change their mind and be like, fuck you, your money, I'm leaving. Like, I want to go. But they're extra. They're extra, like PAs and stuff like that. Just extra.
I mean,
do people know? Do people know that this is how they're being treated?
They don't know. And the other thing is, like you said, like, people don't understand what goes on behind the scenes. Even in the modeling world, I've had, like, a lot of times, and from what I've heard, it's gotten a lot better over the years with this particular thing. But there's times that they treat you like you're not human, like you're just a hanger for real, like straight up, like you're a real hanger, and so you have to be able to. I just thank God that I entered this industry at the age that I did.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? With the mind that I did. Because there was one time recently I did a gig. It sounded great, but I'm really, really sensitive spiritually, energetically, and I've never felt this way about any gig. And on the way there, I wanted to turn around the whole time. And I'm like, why am I feeling like this? Because it was something different that I was used to doing. And so I was like, I'm excited. I should be excited on paper, but my body's not feeling it. Anyway, I get there. Long story short, because we'll save that story for another day. It was horrible, it was trash. And I was working with another model from my agency, and they were young, they like early 20s, and just like, oh, are we allowed to leave? Bitch, what? Get your shit. That's literally what I said, get your shit. And we get them out of here. Right? And she's like, can't we do that? And I said, it's kidnapping. If we can't, like, come on. And we left. And I called my agent, and they got them together, and everything got fixed out. But yeah, it's crazy. People don't know.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And because I love what you said. Like I've said the same thing about myself. Like I'm glad I'm the age I am, because young girls get chewed up and spit out and abused and tossed about. And usually when I'm working on set, I'm working there with girls half my age. Okay. Every time. So I'm always schooling them. Like, you don't have to put up with this. Don't say yes to this. Don't do the nervous giggle. Women do that a lot.
Yes, they do.
Man makes them feel uncomfortable. They do the nervous giggle because they're like, I want to be liked. I don't want him to think that I'm hard to work with, or don't do the nervous giggle. Say no if you're feeling no. Like I'm always, I go into mother hen mode when I'm around these girls, because they're my daughter's age and younger. It's rough. It is rough on set behind the scenes. It is rough. Like it looks glamorous. It's rough. With that said, I respect, like No Saint said, about Tom Cruise, don't look at me or whatever. Here's the thing, like artists, we're wired really strangely. Okay. A lot of us have been through trauma, right? And we use the same thing we use as armor is the same tools that we create with. We're strange people. I'll be the first to say we're not regular people. So in that way, I respect other artists, whatever your process is. I've been on set and people are like, don't talk to me. They'll be off in the corner. I work differently. I process a different way. I like hanging out with the crew and craft services. I'm weird that way. I'm not like, I'll be in my trailer.
Yeah.
Minutes, because I'm really good at turning on and off, right? That's my skill. But I've worked with actors that, I'm like, what's wrong with him? He's like, oh, no one is to talk to him before action. I'm like, okay, go ahead with your bad self. Like, if that's your process, that's your process. All right. As long as you can bring it when the director yells action, I'm for it. But some people have their own thing. I mean,
split.
James Gandolfini walked around with rocks in his shoes so he could keep a scowl on his face for Sopranos. Like, everybody has their process.
Michael Shannon, I was in the first 5 minutes of that movie. I'm in that movie pretty good, but it was Elvis and Nixon, and Michael Shannon is I guess he's a method actor, because you could see, like, before the action, he's sitting there talking to himself, doing all this Elvis. He was playing Elvis, and he was doing all these little things. Like, he wasn't talking to anybody but himself, but he was getting into the frame of mind. It was interesting to watch, but he was the one that he was all business. Like, if we had a couple of extras, talking in the background, he went off on them, and I understood. That's the thing. You have a lot of young people in there that don't know how to be professional yet, and that is a profession, and he's doing his job. He's not in there to make an extra $100 and get the free food, I mean? So, I mean, and every time I was on set, the different things I've done, I was always first and foremost wanted to be professional, even though I knew I was not that big, and as far as the production, it was going to go on if I was there or not,
Right.
Yeah.
It, like
a lot of times.
Welcome, Brother Ish. Welcome to On the Block with Jen.
Peace. I didn't want to just interject, just pop up and be like, yours eyes here. But a lot of times people when it comes to being on set, just to qualify it, I work in the film industry. I'm an assistant director. I'm an AD, and so it's very interesting to hear stories that people have. I've always been very conscious as an AD in relationship to how the extras are being treated. And a lot of people didn't understand why on the production side, because it's like, oh, they're just extras. And I would tell them that extras make your world real.
Yeah.
Your world is not real, just you and two people standing there and there's nobody else on the planet. You know what I'm saying? So they're performance artists as well, and they need to be respected on set. Just as, so I've always done that. And now I like extra work, if I'm not working for a while and I just need a few $100
Right.
to be able to walk around and read a book and, just walk around in character, and that's what I did all day. I didn't have a problem with that because I had no other aspirations other than just, that moment, getting that check.
Right.
So for me, extra work was never a big deal. It was like, I'm not doing anything that day. So if I'm not making money, I'm spending money. So that's why I never really had a problem whenever I've done extra work. But, a lot of times, even, as an AD, they were like, why are you here? I'm like, because there's $150 that I could be making right now. So, that was just my deal on that. But yeah, there's been, when you talk about other artists and their process, I remember working on the set with Prince on the Cinnamon Girls video. And he was one of those that was like, there's no meat to be cooked on set. There's no cursing. And no one was to look at him. And I always thought that was very weird, because it's like, you're a performance artist, you're on stage and people are always looking at you. But then, I understand that, that's a different type of dynamic versus being on a set. You got this grip eating a banana while you're sitting there playing your heart out, trying to perform this song. So I was like, oh, I get it, And he had us like build like these, what we call courtesies, these black sidings around him so that the crew couldn't watch him while he did his performance. And the only thing that could see him was the camera. It was a very interesting process. He was really cool though. I mean, like he invited us, he gave everybody on the crew tickets to the next concert that he was in, and then invited me and the director to an after party that I ended up leaving early from because I was a cornball husband and it was like, oh, I'm out and it's a little late and I should be home with my family. Instead of hanging out with Prince at 5 a.m, I really, that's the one thing I regret.
Yeah, you should. You should. Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I ended up getting divorced in that relationship. Like I divorced her. So it's like,
and
I had missed the opportunity trying to be a good husband. And so think about that.
Romance shit you do never got you nowhere, Ish. Like, bro, that love. You're on the wrong planet with that shit. Getting back to cancel culture, losing its effect. Ish, are you up to speed with Skip Bayless, Dana White, or Bad Bunny?
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so back to.
I'm sorry, it got real noisy in here for a second.
Okay, so back to cancel culture losing its effect and some people being cancelable. Do you think that there's or uncancelable? That's a word. Do you think that there's a racial component or is it a money component? Like Dana White, right? And a lot of people were, we were hearing that, but if it was, Rampage Jackson, he was a UFC fighter and he slapped his wife. If it was, and we saw what happened with what's his name? Was it Ray
Lewis?
No, the little guy, the little football player.
Ray Lewis. Ray Rice. Sorry, Ray Rice.
Like, what I mean?
But even Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis was worse. It was murder, wasn't it?
Allegedly, yeah.
And then Michael Vick
with the pit bulls, like, right? Damn near careers. Well, for some career over, but damn near, you know what I mean, thrown underneath the prison, and still to this day running around with a crucifix, you know what I mean, nailed to their back. And here we have Dana White slap boxing with his wife in public, and he gets to go on TMZ and say, hey, it ain't nobody's business. We don't give a damn what y'all got to say. Okay, it's between me and my wife, and it ain't even between me and her. We love each other. We just worried about our kids. Do you think it's a race thing or a money thing?
I think it's a little bit of both race, gender, and money. It's what I
gender.
And then I was doing a lot of things leading up to doing the show, but I tried to kind of catch up. And so with Dana White, I started looking at that story first. And what I found was like, this is a thing in the in his field. MMA, what is it?
Yeah, you have MMA.
Yeah, this is a thing. Like them beating their wives, like this is nothing. This is just another week. This is just like normal week for them. So at this point, yeah, they're just immune. They figured it out, I think, amongst their culture, that whoever's going to go to the fights is going to go to the fights, and whoever's not. And I feel like it goes back to what we were talking about. I feel like it's a more organic approach to the situation, even though that's not going to stop the conversation. But it seems like it hasn't changed the sport at all because it's a normal thing in their culture, and in our culture as well, in the hip hop culture. Because now let's move over to the hip hop, where you're dealing with predominantly Black males. You know, you have people who have been known to be trash, and they still have careers. Yeah, they're going to talk about them. Like I said, not going to stop the chatter, but it ain't stopping their checks either.
True. To Dollar Dream, sir, what the fuck are you talking about? With the big F, with the big New York F. What the fuck are you talking about? No one is even saying that he shouldn't have hit her or who hit who first. What the fuck are you talking about? You men, you YouTube personalities are always trying to fucking, you want to get in an argument before you realize there's no argument or debate happening. No one's even talking about who hit who first. I don't give a fuck about Dana White or his wife. Like, I could care less.
And can we say that this is a problem with generations that came after, I don't know, maybe after Generation X? When I was growing up, you were told never hit a girl. Even if she hit you, you were not supposed to retaliate.
This is a problem in that, yeah.
And this guy's saying, well, she hit him first. That's just...
I mean, that's something you say when you're like 10.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
First,
yeah, it's like...
But
and they'll blame feminism and all. They'll get, you want to be equal. Like, I don't want to get into that guerrilla nonsense.
Oh God, yeah. But what I was going to say about the gender, though, did you catch how they were trying to cancel Kelly Rowland for like saying something nice about Chris Brown? It's like, but you want to successfully cancel Chris Brown. So why are you trying to cancel Kelly Rowland? And they came down on her hard.
I saw that.
You know, I'm not 100% against cancel culture. I think that I mean, I understand that there is social accountability, but I think what it's really doing is exposing how confused a society that we live in. That's really the issue that's going on. You know, that it's not that there's any, because we live in a very mixed society with a lot of different cultures, views, and ideas. There's not one predominant thought. Like if we were in like communist Russia, like this is not, you know, part of our, you know, lifestyle or whatever. So, you know, you're opened up for a lot of opinions. And I really don't think cancel culture is actually really effective. But I do see evaluation in this new era of social accountability of, you know, you're going to be challenged on anything you say and think. And either you're going to have the Teflon to say, you know what, I don't care. This is what I believe. This is what I think. And I think that's really going to ultimately be where this culture or where people are driven towards. Like, yo, this is what I got. It's like New York. In New York, nobody cares what you think, how you think. You say what you say, and that's what it is, and you keep it pushing. And or you deal with the consequences of whatever you had to say to the right or wrong person. But that's, I think, how society at large is going to evolve into, to some degree, that there's going to be this kind of free form dynamic of, this is my views, this is my opinions. You like it, love it, leave it alone.
So I mentioned that earlier. See, you were late. Okay, you on that NOI time. But I mentioned that earlier, that's where it's headed, where we're starting to see celebrities push back now, where before celebrities were super apologetic and it's like, oh wait, I'm sorry, but now it's like, this is what it is. We saw it with Dana White, we saw it with Dave Chappelle, we even saw it with Chris Brown when he did a song and he mentioned complexion, like light skin something, and then a lot of brown girls was like, you see how he's singing, and he doubled down, so I don't give a fuck, either buy the music or not. Marlon Wayans doubled down. So we're starting to see celebrities like push back. You know what I mean?
I think they realize that the cancel culture is actually helping them. So they're leaning into it, is what I was thinking about earlier. Because I think the craziest shit. So I'm about to let y'all in on my brain real quick. So I'm up there eating dinner, right? Not even knowing that this is the topic, right? And I'm like literally eating, thinking about, I think somebody had they were talking about something related to the virus. And I was thinking like, damn, Omarion really missed that opportunity. He could have came out with an album, or at least the EP called it Amaricon, and let people I hate him, and then the music would take off. I'm like, that was a missed opportunity. I'm even thinking like that now because I'm seeing. So I can't be the only one thinking like that.
Absolutely not. I even said that what celebrities are going to start doing is doing and saying controversial shit so they can go on the apology tour. It's the new press. Like back in the day, it was like, oh, let's connect this actress with this man, and then this will sell the film. Now it's like, no, here's what you do. Say this and that, and then it'll go viral. And just go on an apology tour. No one's going to care after 24 hours. Like I could literally see agents and managers telling people this now. Look, no one's talking about you for a while. Just go out and say something about race or the LGBTQ, you know what I mean? And then apologize a week later. It'll be fine. Like that's where it's headed to. But then I do think some celebrities are genuinely like, I'm fucking sick of y'all. This is what I feel. This is what I think. This is what it's going to be. I'm thinking about a couple years back, the people that were being forced to apologize. And damn well that's really how they felt.
Right.
Right.
Them feel that way. Like you're not going to change how they feel. And if anything, you're going to make them rebel, because you could have a point, but the way you do it, if it's attacking them, then they're gonna be like, fuck y'all, but if you bring it in the place of education and just like tone and calm your emotions, then you're triggered, take it to your therapist and then come and address it, right? Filter it to your best friend or your therapist or your grandma, and then come and then get online and address it, but that's just too emotionally, but I just, it's just weird. But this isn't new what you said though, because as you were saying that, I was thinking about the almighty
mic is crunching. Is it you ish? Somebody's mic is crunching.
No, it's not me. I'm not doing nothing.
Okay, go ahead, Lily.
It could be. Is it me? No, it's not. Is it me?
No, I don't hear anything.
Okay. I think we know by now Michael Jackson leaked a lot of his stories, bad and good. So this is not new. We all know by now that these celebrities, big and small, called the paparazzi. I don't know if you saw the latest, Jen and Ben of them walking out the Starbucks. That was the worst.
I didn't see it.
Go look at it after this. It was so funny. I was like, this, you all are getting sloppy, because let's think about it. The paparazzi are swarming the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, and they're not as many on payroll. Is that me?
Yeah, I hear cracking. I don't know who. It's Ish, isn't it? It's
It's
always
not
Ish.
me. So I was just testing my mic. I just hit mute. It's not me.
Mute your mic. Mute your mic. It's you.
It wasn't me. It just
It's you.
coincidentally stopped. But I muted my mic before and it was still cracking.
It's you. You always fucking around on your desk over
See,
there.
that's the problem. See, you always blaming the black man for the problems in
Yeah,
society.
see?
See,
You
that's
Let
all
me
right. I understand. That's why no saint is on top, above, or the oppression on
Lily,
top of
get
the brother.
him.
See how
Get
you
him.
see?
Right.
You
let
see how
me
you do the black man?
let me call some of my compadres and see about they can get that tap out and get that
Right.
bug out. Get
Have your
that bug
word.
out of it's his mic.
Have your Mission Impossible gang over there get their thing together, man.
He's over there crunching and twirling and
Clicking pins.
all the time. Crunching, babies crying, people knocking on the door.
I love it.
Oh,
It's such a messy block. I live.
I swear it is.
We have no freaking couth. It's unreal. It's
Oh my
okay.
brother Ish. I asked you
Yes.
a question earlier, but you were taking care of whatever was going on back there. Are you up to
Daddy, I'm here. Daddy daycare. Yes, go ahead.
Are you up to speed with Dana White, Bad Bunny, or Skip Bayless, and why they were called to be canceled?
I know about Skip. I don't know about Dana White and Bad Bunny. I didn't know that either.
Okay, so tell us what you know about Skip.
Well,
What do you
Skip,
think about that?
he spoke very disrespectfully. See, there you go. As soon as I start talking, as soon as I start talking very disrespectfully to his co-commentator. That's what I know, and that it just got very intense and disrespectful, and started talking about his career.
Oh,
And
you
his,
a day late and a dollar short, honey. You a day late and a dollar
oh,
short.
and worse.
You talking about that argument he had with Shannon Sharp a while back.
Yeah, that's what I know.
No, honey, no. Lord, what we gonna do with Ish?
What
Lord.
happened?
We're gonna love him. We're gonna love him in public and talk about him behind his back.
Okay, then I digress. I'll keep what I'm saying when I text you later, Lily.
I want to make a comment about the question you had earlier about what is it when it comes to the differences between, like, say, the Ray Rice or the Dana White type thing. So I think some of it is money, obviously. The people who are, like, if you run the show, there's little to nothing they're gonna, if you can push back, like if you own the business, right? You own the business. When it comes to, like, Ray Rice, it's also how replaceable are you? Although Ray Rice was a pretty good running back, he wasn't the top running. In other words, you know what I'm saying? And like with everybody's treated different. But what I do want to say, I believe when it comes to I think the black community has more of a can be more. They have more of a united, I think, united front when it comes to the people's popularity. In other words, if you're a country music artist, your main audience is white people, right? I mean, for the most part. I mean, I don't, I know there's some crossover there, but 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 it's not all white people, but you have such a huge audience of white people to pull from that you don't need to pull as many white people. Like if you say something like, I never forget the Dixie Chicks. Remember when the Dixie Chicks did their thing?
But
I'm
they're
going off.
female and they're no longer here. But go
Yeah,
on.
no, yeah, you're right. You're right. It kind of, I'm mixing up stories I want to tell. So I got to get myself straight back to make my point. But what I'm saying is that if you, it seems to me that when it comes to black celebrities, they have to toe the line, the majority line of the people they sell to. And I'm not talking about rap, because I mean, rap, they sell to everybody, right? They sell to more white people. But what I'm saying is, like, if you are a Trump supporter as a black person, you're more likely to get ostracized. I mean, and then what do you? Then that's all the white people saying, yeah, that's a good black guy there. That's you know, right on, and they put him up, and they put him up. But man, I guess I'm trying to make a point that I went all over the place on, but I do want to tell this story when it comes to the Dixie Chicks. Cracked me up. Difference from cancel culture of the past, right? Like that's when that whole thing happened with the Dixie Chicks. I remember my grandmother, and I did listen to the Dixie Chicks. I liked them. I liked the Dixie Chicks, and it was that whole thing. And then my grandmother, she's in her 80s. She's like, I'm never gonna watch them again. And I just looked at her, and she caught herself. She's like, I never watched them anyway.
Yeah, right. That's the other thing too. That you get a lot of that. It's like, were you even subscribed to that person?
Right. But I don't know if I made a good point or not when it comes to that. I just think that when it comes to like I said, there's more of a, and that may sound crazy, but I think there's more of a united front when it comes to the cancel culture in the Black community if they don't kind of go with what the mainstream is doing. Maybe I'm wrong. No.
That's an interesting point. Black people on the panel, what say you?
I agree. I mean, we have a tendency to voice our opinion. We do it in movie theaters and public sporting events and whatsoever. So I can see that there's a more cohesive, collective outrage that you may hear from the Black community. I can even if we're not a monolith in our thoughts or opinions,
right,
but we're just loud when we express it. So that's we emphasize very well on our point. Like we're going to be the ones that make a real big stink about it, versus another culture, another group that may just quietly just have an opinion.
And I think I was just gonna, and I think that it's more. It's a more, if you want to look at it, it's almost a more powerful, for lack of a better word, voting block, because if you're a white person, you have a lot more people to draw from. So it's not quite as important to please everybody, because okay, I didn't please that block of people, but there's a whole nother, 50 million white people that are going to support me. And I just think it almost makes it more powerful.
Well, the social history, of Caucasian culture in America, it also operates very covertly. So a lot of times you have individuals that will, instead of expressing their opinion about it, they'll do something about it. They'll be like, somebody needs to call on this person right here. You have a history of those type of scenarios being done. We need to have a conversation with the mayor or call the city councilman, and we're going to address this issue. And because there's a more sense of empowerment in the ability to do something about it versus what happens in the Black community, where we're just like, oh, we'll throw a tantrum about the issue, but we won't actually do something about it. We'll be passive in relationship to that until it becomes something, extreme, like the loss of a life.
Mm-hmm.
But only the loss of a life at white hands.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. We should have, I honestly agree that we should have some sort of, maybe not protest, but some sort of serious action when it comes to any life that's lost in the Black community, and that it should be addressed aggressively, to change that dynamic. But yeah, I agree with you on that.
I had to chew on it because I wasn't, I had to think about it as you were saying it. And at first I was like, I don't know. But then I thought about it. And I was like, yeah, even though we're not monolithic in the mainstream, we appear to be.
True.
And what I mean by that, it's like when you're Black, you're expected to be a Democrat. You're expected to be a Christian or a Muslim. You cannot be atheist. You cannot, you can't study Wiccan or whatever else, right? Hip hop and R&B or like some type of old school. It's just a very like and if you speak out against certain things, right, then you're the first thing they yell at you or throw at you is coon,
Yeah.
traitor, and things like that. So I get what you're saying in that aspect. Yeah.
And I will say that before I got in these YouTube streets and some of these different platforms I've been on, I was kind of like, oh, good. I was thinking, oh, good. There are, because there was that whole, like you said, that whole thing where you think black people, not that they're all monolithic, but you kind of think there's not a whole lot of black atheists or I always wondered, like, until until I went on some, like, I got to see what I always wondered, like, and it's obviously it's not all black people, and there's a, but I went to some of the pro-black pages, and I got to see actually what people thought, some of what people actually were saying when they thought maybe white people weren't watching, and it relieved me in a sense, because I never understood. In some cases, I never understood, like, for instance, in the South, why there wasn't more of that, like, the way people were treated, why they didn't have a certain feeling against people like me, and come to find out, they actually do have those feelings. Not everybody, but there are quite a few that,
But I mean, historically, there were consequences. There were extreme consequences for having an opinion. Like, you couldn't, in the South, they had laughing barrels where you couldn't even laugh publicly out loud as a black person. You had to if you want to laugh, you had to duck your head into a barrel. So the consequences for having an opinion, for expressing dissatisfaction, could get you killed. And a lot
Yeah.
of lynchings and murders that took place were for very nominal social experiences of just, somebody whistling at a woman, or looking at a person the wrong way, or, being too successful. So, there was a suppression of opinion. Now, that's why even today, in fact, me and Jen always make jokes about how some black folks, when they're talking about white people, start whispering.
Right.
They don't want to say that.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
and like, don't whisper to me about a white person. I'm gonna say, what? I can't hear you.
right, like why are you whispering? There's only two people in the room, and it's me and you, and you got to whisper like that. That's ingrained in our psyche at this point. So there's a dynamic, when you say, things that black people say when white people are around, that is even a telling statement in itself. Like, why should there be this secondary opinion that exists that you can't express because there were consequences attached to it?
But let me go a little deeper. Let me open up Pandora's box here. Kick it
Okay.
over. When we talk about when you talk about, well, back in the day, you couldn't have a voice, blah, blah, blah. What I've seen is that, hey,
she's such a brat.
oh my goodness. The kitty's like, what's going on? I want to go on the block.
Right. She was right here for a second, but yeah, she comes actually every night. She loves this show.
We even got the kitties.
Right.
So, speaking on that, don't you think that even with that quote unquote digital power, there have been more black people canceled by black people than black people are canceling white people?
Yeah, but that's because there's black shame and black guilt when it comes to how we represent ourselves, and we walk around with this thought that, oh, you're gonna make us all look bad, because there's no individual accountability. There's always this cultural impact that's supposed to happen when a black person does something. So that a lot of times is where we go into this like protective sensibilities of like, we're gonna stop you before you continue to embarrass us, even though a lot of things that we celebrate are embarrassing. I mean, I have a big issue with twerking. I think twerking is a ridiculous practice. It has you can't tie it to cultural, oh, this is African dance, and like, it's a whole different energy when somebody's twerking. This is a celebration of stripper and hoe culture. That's what it is at the end of the day. And those are things that are still embarrassing to us, but we celebrate it. So there's a contradiction in our dynamic in relationship to what we're canceling and why we're canceling. And again, it's just that's a dynamic of our confusion as a culture.
I agree because it goes back to what I was saying earlier, and being Black, you know, honestly, when I think of getting backlash for certain things that I believe and I think, that's what like not until just this moment I was able to piece together like, dang, it's Black people that I feel like I'll be stoned by quicker than anyone for having opinions and thoughts outside of the monolith, you know, because I'm not Republican or Democrat. I dislike them equally, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they both have their points, you know. I can see the point in just about anything. I can take a piece of something out of just about anything and then throw the rest away. But I don't tend to throw the baby out with the bathwater anymore, because that I used to be that way. Mm-hmm. Because I was raised to be that way, you know. And so I didn't even realize that I was doing it until I started to kind of take my power back and develop a mind of my own and realize I don't even have a belief system. I'm, you know, like this is just I don't even know who I am. I don't even have a belief system. And that's another topic that most people, you know, don't. Most people don't have their own belief system, and most people don't know who they are. And really, that's where cancel culture comes from.
There you go.
That's a yummy point, because I came to that epiphany myself. Like, I was very much my father's belief system. I was like, and you want to talk about throwing the baby out the bathwater. He threw the tub out, the baby, the water, bathroom, like everything was out the door. It was his way or the highway. He had these beliefs about people that did that thing over there, and this belief about, and then you just grow up with that. You're like, yeah, that's how I feel. And then I got older, and I'm like, I'm going to church with my aunt, and I'm like, what is this shit? Like, I don't believe it, but I gotta be here because my family's here. You know, I gotta think this thing that my father is thinking. And then a lot of us don't grow up with no identity. We grow up under the identity of the elders in our family. That's our identity. And then you get to age and you're like, I don't believe in this shit. I don't like this shit. Like, what is this? I don't even eat this shit. I don't even like. So, and that's a beautiful thing when you come into your own. It's a freedom. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing when you're like, I don't know, that's not me. I want to do what I want to do. But like you said, it's a whole other subject, a great subject, because I think, you know, the Twitter spaces, the YouTube spaces, they do act monolithic. Like, I noticed Misery is monolithic. Like, people you would think that would never even get together if the common theme is misery and hate and canceling. It's like, oh, y'all two get along now? Okay, that's interesting. All right, okay. We'll keep it moving from here.
So, and another thing I'm going to say, if you want to talk about cancel culture in the Black community, let me tell you something. Anytime I have gone into a pro-Black space, the anti-LGBT hate that is spewed in every pro-Black space, and I'm like, you do realize they're Black, right? So is this pro-Black with exceptions? And can we get a list of the exceptions? Like, I don't understand how we're doing this whole pro-Black thing. You know, it's really weird. Like, yeah.
I will agree.
That having traveled deeply into the pro-Black environment, there is that dynamic when it comes to the LGBT space participating. And there's one aspect, yes, you are Black. So, you know, you have your Black card, you have your membership card right there. But then at times, and again, this could be a whole separate conversation, in some scenarios, and some, not all, but in some scenarios, the LGBT puts their agenda ahead of the Black agenda. And so then that becomes a push and pull of whose agenda is is at the forefront of this issue right now. And so a lot of times it's a weird set of dynamics because, you know, again, not being a monolith as a community and having, you know, so much diversity attached to it, and actually in its birth origins as a people, we are the most diverse people on the planet. If you want to see any kind of spectrum, and this is something that that physicist, the black physicist, talks about. If you want to see a genetic, the tallest people on the planet are black. The shortest people on the planet are black. You know what I mean? When you want to look for, you know,
The lightest and the darkest.
the lightest and the darkest, slanted eyes, you know, all those different nuances you find in Africa. So understanding that this is a culture, this is a people that come from diversity. You see what I'm saying? Diversity should have we should have a different relationship with diversity than what we have. But the reason why you have these infighting scenarios is because we're also a bastard culture where we've lost our sense of identity. So when you talk about saying that you don't even know who you are, that made me think about looking at an African tribe and how their lifestyle is, and the question is, well, why do you all do this? Is because this is our culture. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's not even something that's accepted as there's any alternative. This is what it is, and this is what we do. You know what
But
I'm saying?
I don't want to gloss over that. Lily, what do you say to that when you're in a space, or when you hear Ish say, well, that's because the LGBTQ community puts that makes that the priority over them being black, but then it's like they want to be in those pro-black spaces and say that black is the issue.
It's bullshit. Because I've heard that a million times. And the thing is, when you look at the LGBT agenda that they try to claim, it's not us, and it's not for us. It's not for black people.
That's
like,
true. That's
you know,
true.
and
That's
so
true.
that's a cop out for their their homophobia. Just say you're homophobic. Just say that. Don't use all of these mushmouth theological. Like, no. Like, just say I'm homophobic. And then now we have something we can deal with. Now we have a place that we can start to have a real conversation, because I feel when people, does that mean?
Dude, your mic. What is going on? You're an AD. You're supposed to have a better system than that, bruh.
Wait, why am I getting it? I'm muted. I've been muted.
Were you muted? I think it's me.
Is it you, Lily?
Is it me? Once I start talking, is it going?
No, I don't hear it.
I was muted at the time, so.
But you be lying about it too, so I can't say.
You know what? Vegas is a 4-hour drive and a 45-minute flight. We can just settle it right there on Las Vegas Boulevard.
You know where I live. Lily, what were you saying?
So what I was saying is, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. And I'm trying to, I have a family member, because I'm real careful when it comes to my family. I have a family member that we had this issue, very close family member. And the biggest reason why we couldn't get anywhere is because when I would say, what is your issue? Mm-hmm. They would hide behind the Bible and the Jesus and the Lord. And I'm like, no. I don't want to hear any of that. Like, you as a person, you as an individual, what is your issue? They couldn't, because it goes back when a person doesn't know who they are, right? So they can't even say what their issue is, because they're sharing the issue with a bunch of people that are like, okay, I guess this is my issue too, But if a person can say, I'm homophobic, or it's embarrassing, like if the family member can say, you're embarrassing me. Okay, boom, now we have something we can deal with. Boom, that's my issue. So I guess I pretty much just say that it's bullshit, and I would much rather hear I'm homophobic and I'm uncomfortable. I would much rather hear that, and then we can work something out.
I'd have to give you some pushback on that, and I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is an aspect of, and I hate to even use the term homophobic because I really don't think that's a honest representation of the issue. I just out of just the usage of the language, I don't think it's a phobia. I think that it's a hate. I believe it's a preference, like like a disdain for a group of people, but I don't think it's a fear.
I
What I'm
agree.
saying?
I agree.
Like an irrational fear. It may be an irrational sense of hate, an irrational disregard, but it's not an irrational sense of fear. So, but for communication, we'll utilize this terminology for
That's
right
the only
now.
reason why I was using it, but I don't like it either, to be honest with you.
So, saying all that, the pushback is on this is this: that in a community that has walked with a lack of sense of self and trying to find itself, you have the extremists. So the Black empowerment environment is the extremist. Okay, just like the right wing is the white extremist. So within that, as we're trying to achieve and redefine Black masculinity from being called boy for so many years, and now we're trying to strive to be so-called men, there's this, then all of a sudden there's this subculture of people who are blurring the lines between masculinity and femininity. And that dynamic now says, okay, this is an issue that is confronting unintentionally this movement that we're trying to push for Black manhood. And that, as unfair as it may be, because you're talking about a group of people who are expressing themselves and how they feel themselves internally and how they self-identify. At the same time, they now are not in a space where there's no safe space for them or they're being accepted. Now, the dynamic between that is that you have, when you're trying to have the restoration of a people, now you're talking about a group that does not facilitate the preservation of the ongoing development of that people, relationships, Black families, babies, that kind of dynamic. And so then it just becomes a subculture that's not being accepted because it doesn't, it's perceived as not being valuable. You see what I'm saying? Like while we're trying, I mean, I'm just giving, I'm just talking,
I'm like, do you even believe this shit yourself? Like,
right, because it sounds great. I mean, it sounds great, but dude. First of all, let me just say this, and then I promise I will pass the mic. I know No Saint wants to say something. Lily, he's addressing you, so I know you want to say something. I just want to say, when I hear the terms Black manhood, okay, and I just don't understand how the LGBTQ community is how. I'm just like, there's so much I want to say. How is it Black manhood? Why is it, again, it's weird because it's like the things that Black men don't like, they do. They're diminishing Black manhood to what they do with their penis.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How is that Black manhood? When I hear someone say, but we're trying to develop this Black manhood because we don't have an identity and we were stolen from Africa and we're put here and we don't have our own religion and our own food and our own culture. So we're trying to get this manhood back. Why doesn't that result in conversations of, we are going to stay with the women we get pregnant. We're going to marry the women we get pregnant. We're going to raise our children. We're going to take care of our neighborhoods like Italians do it. We're going to work together. We're not going to kill each other. Like, why doesn't Black manhood mean that? Why does Black manhood mean where you put your penis? And as far as, because, being gay is a threat to, Black men not having children. If a Black man is with another Black man, then those two men can have children. Take care of the babies that you have.
Right. Oh my God. And so that we don't have to adopt them.
And look, I absolutely agree with you. I'm in agreement with you in relationship to that does not that the key elements of defining Black manhood and masculinity is built around what we do in our community and the responsibilities that we should have, and that the LGBT community is not an affront to that. I'm merely expressing areas of where it comes from. You know what I'm saying? And the thought processes of it. It doesn't necessarily make it right, but I'm saying this is the foundational ideology that exists. You're absolutely right. It does. Somebody being that whatever they choose to put their penis or whatever, that doesn't affect me. You know, like working in the film industry, I work around a lot of gay people on every strata. I know all the L, the B, the G, and the T. You know what I'm saying? So I have rapport and relationships with them in that dynamic. So it's you know, I've worked on films that had just a full-on gay theme. I worked on Bears 3. So you know, in that whole dynamic, if I ever had a doubt about my identity on that film, I would have been clear.
But then I call, you know what? Then I call hypocrisy. And here's why I would call you a hypocrite. Because you say, I have a rapport. And I work on set and I'm in the entertainment business. And I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying what I hear. Right. Then I would call you a hypocrite because you are very much up to the gills in a religion that upholds the law, right? That is anti, okay, LGBTQ. So it doesn't matter that you have a rapport when you're on set. You don't have a choice or you cannot work there. But then when you go, your prayers, your Bible, your belief system, your leaders, your peers within that religion are very much anti-homosexuality. And that's what I call hypocrisy. Because you have one foot here and one foot here. I'm not going to be neck deep in a religion, be it any religion. I don't do religion at all. But I'm not going to say, well, this is my religion, but, you know, and we're anti X, 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 Y, and Z. But, you know, I have this rapport and they're great people. And I worked on Bears 3 and there's lots of gay people. And there's maybe.
Well, let me say this. Let me quantify. Let me quantify this. In my faith practice, we don't hate homosexuals. I
said you uphold the law. You don't believe in homosexuality.
You cannot practice a lifestyle of homosexuality within our community of Islam.
And why is that?
Because we don't believe it to be a natural act.
Okay. So you are anti-homosexuality.
Well, it's not anti in relationship. It's like we equate it to sin no different than fornication. So
we about to go down. We about to fall down. We about to fall. We about to fall down.
I mean, I'm just let me say this.
Let me get in on this.
Let me say this. This has been publicly stated by the minister himself in relationship to that, and you know, in the perception of being holier than thou, individuals were aghast in the audience, like, what do you mean? Homosexuality is the same as fornication. It's like, you know, but in the perspective of Islam and how it's taught and in its foundation, they're equal. So there is no sin is greater than the other. So now as the minister stated, we hate the sin, not the sinner. So that's our basis. So when we're talking about being anti, it's how we perceive it and understand it, a lifestyle practice. It's not necessarily that it's and I want to phrase, I'm phrasing this kind of oddly, but a hybrid human being. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a new, different type of human being that exists, a new species of human being. Huh?
Have you ever looked at hieroglyphs or even studied them?
The what?
Have you looked at any hieroglyphs or even studied them?
I've looked at hieroglyphs, but maybe not from the perspective you're speaking of.
I would implore you just to check it out, and you would see that it's nothing new under the sun.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm not, and in understanding, if you study history, that you're not there's no doubt that there's a long extended history of homosexuality that it existed throughout time that we have recorded. You find it in many
It's
cultures.
as far back as you go. You're not gonna go back and not find it.
Right. So
Okay.
I'm very clear on that.
So what do you mean by hybrid though? I'm lost with
Well,
that.
it's identifying this as a subspecies of human being. Like there's
What's a subspecies of human being?
saying that homosexuals are a subspecies is like there's male, female, and then homosexuals.
I get it, kind of like the Christianity religion did with black people.
Right.
They use religion to classify human beings.
Classify. So I'm
That's
saying
awesome
that there
God.
is no.
People ask me why I'm an atheist.
I know that's an awesome God. He sounds.
Listen, I got
But,
no,
but
really. I
saying that there's
I don't
no.
want to lose
I'm
my.
not saying. I'm
Let
saying
Milton
that
jump
there
in.
is
Let
no.
Milton jump in real quick. Take a breather. Let
Yeah,
Milton.
I just want to, and Ish, I appreciate your honesty with everything you talk
I'm
about.
just calming down really quick.
Yeah, yeah. So what I want to ask you, Ish, in your belief, because I know how the Muslims over in the Middle East believe, and I know how the Hebrew Israelites believe, and I know the only thing holding them back in this country from putting homosexuals to death is laws in this country. So I'm curious that if the nation were to form their own government, would that be the sentence? Would death be the sentence to unrepentant people that are homosexual?
Oh, that's a really good question. I just
Repeat the last portion of your question.
So yeah, so basically, I was saying I know like in the Middle East they will put homosexuals to death because it's in their belief, it's in their Islamic laws. I'm curious if the nation were to have their own government, like is the only thing keeping you're saying, hey, we're not again, we hate the sin, but if there was someone who was unrepentant and said no, I'm a homosexual, would the law say that they were put to death in the nation?
No, I mean we don't in none of our teachings in relationship to that is death in our perspective. You have to also consider that what happens in the Middle East is also a part of Arab culture, which is distinguishably different from what is taught in Islam. So you have.
But what I'm saying is in the Bible, it's you're supposed to put people to death. Homosexuals, you're supposed to put to
and
death.
fornicators in the
And
same
and all those all those things you speak about, and I'm not sure, I'm not an expert on the Bible or the Quran, but I'm not sure if the Quran has that in it or not, and is that what they over in Arabic culture is justifying by using the Quran, saying that yeah, in here it says you should be put to death.
Well, I mean, there's certain aspects of the word in relationship to that you have to look at whether it's literal or it's metaphoric. All that is left up into interpretation,
And that's the problem.
and that.
You know
Well, I
what I'm
mean, that
saying?
is
That's the
that
problem.
is the dynamic, that affects all faiths. So, it just depends on how you choose to practice it or apply it. Now, no, in the nation, we don't subscribe to the dynamic of taking someone's life in relationship to that. The Quran states, "Slay the hypocrite where he stands," and that can also be interpreted in saying dealing with your own internal hypocrisy and killing that, not literally killing the person. So again, it depends on interpretation, and that is where a lot of problems in religious faiths exist, is in interpretation. You know what I'm saying? All the way around. There's no group that is excluded from that frailty. So, when it comes to that, so we don't practice that. That is not something that has been taught, and has, we've been brought to a different perspective.
Jen, can't hear you.
Go ahead, Jen.
Do you think that the Muslims in the Middle East would call you a hybrid Muslim then?
Well, I wasn't calling I wasn't calling anyone hybrid. I was stating a point of, is that are we saying that this is a hybrid species of human being, is the question I'm asking. I'm not calling someone a hybrid human being. I'm saying are we now identifying that this is a hybrid species from there being male and there being female? Is there another species that exists that we now have to identify? And that's the question that I'm asking. It's not that I'm identifying something.
By the way, just for the record, we on the block with Jen. Everybody's allowed their opinion, but all
Yes.
opinions are challenged. All opinions are challenged. So I don't want anyone watching like, oh my God, I can't go. Say whatever you want, but understand that other people have their own opinions, and we're gonna go back and forth, and they're gonna be challenged. Ish could think whatever the hell he wants
Yeah.
to think and practice whatever he wants. But I always got something to say to whoever I just find interesting.
And I respect this space because we're having intellectual, non-emotional adult communication in the efforts of discovering coming to some form of understanding, and that is the value of being on the block, not just blowing smoke up your rear, but that's just the value of it. Like, we can have these type of conversations without me sitting up here just like Bible thumping what God said. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't there when God said it, so what I mean. So we can't quantify those type of things, and it falls into belief, and it falls into the aspects of faith.
But do you think that religion and faith, do you think, honesty, and maybe you don't, do you think that religion, the Quran, whatever, Muslims, NOI, Christians, whatever, you don't think that their belief system, interpretation or not, right? Because I think whenever a religious person gets stuck on a point, that's the free card, if you notice. But don't religious people, well, it's up to interpretation and how you want to practice it. That's the get out of jail free card. I've seen every religion do that, right?
Every one of them.
Right. So let me ask you this: don't you think that it's a slippery slope and you're playing a dangerous game because you keep perpetuating this thing that person is bad and that person is bad? And I'm just using bad, for lack of a better term. That person is not doing what humans are supposed to be doing. That person may be hybrid. That person is no good. That person is no good, right? You don't think that perpetuates a hate, a fear, a phobia, death?
That's the dog whistles I'm talking about.
Violence towards a certain community of people. We've seen it happen against Muslims, right?
I mean, even though it doesn't personally, even if it hadn't personally affected me or doesn't personally affect me, doesn't mean that it doesn't have a valuation of what you're saying. So yes, I agree with you on that point. There are aspects to that can be utilized as dog whistles to go after a group of people, to oppress a group of people, or to abuse a group of people. Absolutely. It's again, it's a comprehensive understanding that you have to ask and discover and walk through, because I believe we're just in a space now, in because we have the ability of this interconnectedness with internet and everything, that we now have the ability to really see inside cultures, see inside different groups, and really understand. I personally have had so much interaction with the homosexual community from when I worked in the LA County Jail and worked on the actual deck where they segregate the homosexual inmates, to working in the film industry and just being around. So I've had long extensive
Whoa.
Can't hear you.
Wow. Okay. Can you hear me?
You sound like a AI.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes.
See, God. No.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
right.
but no, it was actually
hanging out with all them homosexuals.
No, but again, it's a lot of times you have different individuals who are fighting their own inclinations and are not comfortable with their own inclinations or their own attractions. So a lot of times they have put stuff out there on people because they're suppressing an inner desire that they're not necessarily comfortable with. And so all that are factors, and all that is the frailty of most belief systems that exist. you know, that you have. I believe that all this is human based. Okay. Divinity is an energy that is manifested through human beings. That is what I'm taught in the nation, and I accept that belief. You know what I'm saying? I accept that ideology. I've gone through all the different. I've studied Buddhism. I've studied Christianity. All this kind of stuff. When it comes to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, what he teaches, I rock with that. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So it's not a question mark about me, about like, Brother Ish, why are you doing this? I vetted it out. I'm very comfortable with it. So when it comes to in interaction with the homosexual community, I've been challenged on that. You know, working on a set, it's like, Brother Ish, well, don't you hate us? And it's like, no, I don't hate you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and having those type of dialogues and those interactions also allowed me to have the comfortability, you know what I mean, to be able to have this conversation today, to be able to interact human to human, you know what I'm saying? And go beyond, because I don't care what somebody else does in their private life. You know what I'm saying?
But that's not that's not that. This is why I call it hypocrisy. That can't be true. You're lying to one side. You
Not at
understand?
all.
You are. You're lying. You're lying to one side. You have to.
What? So
Am I
the
too
same
extreme?
feeling that I have. Look,
Wait,
let me give you an
finish. Let me
example.
finish. I can be. Let me finish because I could be corrected. You guys could correct me if I'm wrong. Am I also throwing the baby out the bathwater? I just don't see how you can be a devout, right, Muslim or a devout Christian. They have certain beliefs. Point blank. Period. So if you are a person that's involved in this religion, are you not following them all the way? Are you sometimey? Are you
Jen,
like, I have a gay friend? Like, what? I'm trying to understand.
Jen, no, I couldn't be more with you, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Like, vegans don't eat meat is my point.
Right. There's something I say behind the scenes all the time, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it on the block. There's something even sicker than that, right? And it's on the same line, just a little bit more extreme. I think, like, I feel the same way about people who are openly LGBT and are Christians and like, how are you pledging allegiance to something that doesn't pledge allegiance to you? How do you make that make sense? Like, I can't make that make sense. No matter how I move, I can't make it make sense. So I feel this is the same type of thing, not as extreme, you know, but it's still not making sense to me as well, because it's like, do you pledge allegiance to the full thing, or are you cherry picking the religion?
Then say that.
Then say that, and I can accept that too, because it is coming from man, so you know you do got to take everything with a grain of salt, or what? Like, I don't understand it.
Let's pose the question like this. Let me pose a response like this. If Jen's a fornicator, do I hate? Okay. Do I hate Jen for the acts that she does, or do I acknowledge her for the person that she is? So the same thing in relationship to someone who's homosexual. If I view it as both sinful acts.
You have never introduced to nobody as like, hey, here's my friend Tracy. You know she's a fornicator, right? Like, you're never going to mention anyone's fornication.
Maybe,
but you
we're not going to mention that because,
or she's a, you know.
But we're not going to mention that because it is socially accepted in this society, so that it's the norm.
In their society, not this society. In their society, it's socially acceptable. Because now we got to go into your society, and your society is socially acceptable. So they don't even believe
that's
the
what
shit that they're saying.
I'm saying in general, fornication in this society that we exist in right now, the reason why we don't identify it is because it's commonly acknowledged that that's what most folks are doing. So there's no unique distinguishment about that. There's not it's not a small segment of community is what my point.
But you are a small segment of the community.
What do you mean?
because you're like the LGBT community is a segment within the greater community. You know, the Christian community is a small sector of the greater community, and NOI is a small sector of the
Oh,
greater
I'm saying
community.
no. I'm saying fornicators. That's what
Oh,
I'm
you
not,
talking about the fornicators? Okay,
right. That's why it's that someone's not introduced as, oh, this is my fornicating friend, such and such. You see what I'm saying?
because they
Why
all
there's
going around
not
fucking each other.
right. You know, that's why there's not a distinction in the common social behavior is my point. So when it comes to, again, that was when the minister brought that out in the election. It was a public lecture in what is called our Savior's Day. You know, I felt the gasp in the audience when he said, you know, one is no different than the fornicator. You know what I'm saying?
I remember
And it
that
was like,
speech.
you know, so everybody that thought they were the holier than thou was like, gotcha. You know, you ain't better than what you're looking down on. Now you have to equate yourself in a different manner, and now you have to have a different perspective on how you interact with homosexual people. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not going to have the same attitude with Bobo, who's your homeboy, or, you know, Gina, who's your cousin, who's out there, then why would you have a problem with Lily over here? You see what I'm saying? So it brought a different, it changed the perspective, is my point.
Let me do a super chat break, and then I'm gonna ask you a question about that ish. Super chat break. Thank you so much, Fahim Jackson, for the super chat. I appreciate you. Fahim says homosexuality predates religion. Even during biblical days, there were gay bathhouses where known male figures would take up with younger males. Religious figures discouraged it, but did not ban it. I do want to ask Ish, when he said that in the audience, the gasps, right? Now, did Farrakhan say that to humanize homosexuals, or did he say that to demonize fornicators? Do you get what I'm saying? Did he say that so people could open their heart up to the LGBTQ and say, oh, you sin and I sin? Or did he say that to put fornicators on the same level of abomination as the LGBTQ? Because there's a difference.
There is definitely a difference. I think he did that to kind of check the holier than thou attitude.
Okay, so it wasn't to humanize the LGBTQ. Like, look, you sin, they sin. You guys have to really look that you're the same people. He didn't say it in that vein, I'm sure.
No, he didn't say it in that vein, but he said it in a vein of that arrogance that was existing in the audience in relationship to, I'm better than this person.
Irrelevant to the conversation then, isn't it?
No, not really, because then again, it changes in his manner, in his ability to change the perspective. It shifted my perspective. It shifted my perspective in looking at things a whole lot different, because I have fornicated, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not walking around like, you know, I ain't been out there doing
something. It made you feel like, oh, that abomination over there.
The abomination is not even a term. Abomination is not a term that I utilize, because then I would have to be an abominable person myself.
Religion.
But listen to what I'm saying. But again, how everyone practices the religion, and see, you're talking from a paradigm of, like, for me to phrase it this way, you're talking from a paradigm of white supremacy in relationship to religion and how they practice and presented it. You're talking about the history of, you know, the Spanish Inquisition and stretching, you know, out people who didn't do certain acts. So it's a perspective that is not
say that it's an abomination.
Say it again.
I said, so you've never, because I've never been to a white church my entire life. I've only been to Black and Latin church, Kingdom Hall, a Baptist, Catholic. I've never been to a white church. I heard abomination in a church of Kenya. Okay?
Right, but understand this, that even though you may not have been to a white church, many of the churches of color have been influenced, and the doctrine was founded from the white church. We were taught Christianity and how it's practiced. This is not the same Christianity that Coptic Christians practice in ancient Egypt. You know, I mean, that's one of the oldest forms of Christianity outside of what's going on.
But it doesn't. Here's the thing: the words don't really matter whether you use abomination or not. In your religion, it's wrong. It doesn't matter.
It's not natural. Exactly.
Right, not natural, abomination, sin. It all falls under. You should not be doing that, and I think it's wrong that you're doing that. It just falls under that. Doesn't matter what.
Right. In the same manner that I should not be, we should not be fornicating, and it's wrong for doing that. It's equal. Right. It's not. There's not one over the other.
The thing, if you rate your snap, crackling, and popping again. Ooh, Lord.
Yeah.
Just let me know when you're ready to talk because I muted you. But here's the thing: there's Veganista, I think, mentioned, religion is dangerous. Surprise! But imagine raising a child, innocent brain, everything clear, and you're raising a child. Them two people over there are unnatural.
One thing
is dangerous.
Right.
That perpetuates the hate.
Right, because the one thing I can tell you, as someone who's really good with kids and kids just gravitate to whatever, I've never ever once met a racist child, like kid that hasn't been, corrupted, homophobic or anything. They go by energy. They go by how you treat them, and that's it. And I'm like, they get it. I always say kids are so much more smarter than adults. Adults are dumb.
Yeah.
Not corrupted.
Dude, I don't even know what would cause that sound. Like, what
is it? Is it as soon as I come on, it's doing it again?
Now it's better.
It's about to start. I can feel it. Go ahead, No Saint.
Yeah. So to bring it back into what Lily was saying much earlier, I agree with her totally 100%. And the on the Black Power YouTube channels, that is a big thing. And I want to say that, listen, we were talking about this recently about what's the big actor's name that dressed up like a bee? The feminization of yeah. So I mean, it is a very I don't know, like homophobic is the wrong word, but you find it a lot, at least in my experience, it's a lot more sensitive subject. And I know Ish has a take on that, of course, and I get what he's saying, but yeah, you do find that, like, that is something that flies a lot in those spaces, for sure, much more than what I see, in other communities.
Right. It's a distraction from real issues, because that is the least of our issues. If we want to be pro-Black and deal with Black issues, that is the least. It shouldn't even be an issue, but if you're going to make it an issue, it should be the last issue. But unfortunately, I'm going to share something with y'all. So I think it was the last time, like, everybody was protesting and things like that, right? And everybody was going like, oh my God, everyone was angry as they should have been. And I was angry, and, with George Floyd and things like that. And at the same time, they was like, we're going to go out here and march. I said, I'm not going out there and march. I ain't marching. Not for them to kill me. The same people I'm marching for would kill me.
Well, I want to bring something up with what you're saying. That is where, and you heard that, like, the Black Lives Matter, you start hearing that was a lesbian run thing, the Black Lives Matter. I think, and Ish, you may agree with this, that I think, and I may be speaking out of turn because, but from observation, I know there's been this thing, like, it seems like people, at least the assumption in the Black community, is that people are using Black people to get a leg up in civil rights, say like the women's movement and things like that. And then now they're saying, well, the gay people have used, Black
the Black civil rights movement. They've got further ahead. You know, with the Obama signed all this stuff for the and that's what I hear in Black circles. Like it's almost like they feel like every time they're trying to move forward and get an agenda done, someone else comes in and uses it to springboard off of that. So whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that's what I feel like from observation in those platforms. I hear people kind of.
I mean, I've heard that talk, but that's also not very clear. Those individuals are not very clear on the history of the active participation for key aspects of even Martin Luther King's civil rights movement was organized by a homosexual man. And if he had not been a part of that organization, it may have been very challenged for it. And it's a documentary on the whole subject. And I forgot the man's name. It's my bad for that. But that is an aspect that we don't acknowledge. And so then it you know, along with the closet dynamics, it eliminates the ability for people to be acknowledged for their participation and their influence and their accomplishments in the movement. You know, again, you know, it's all perspective at the end of the day, and it's, you know, I can't speak for every Muslim. I can't speak for every revolutionary, you know, on that dynamic. But I know that I've had enough interaction and engagement, you know, with the homosexual community to have a real clear perspective. I know some of the individuals who started Black Lives Matter. I've done security for them. I know them personally, and they've sat up there and said, you know, when it goes down, we're going to get behind y'all. You know, like they, you know, they have a sense of, you know, being a part of the movement and knowing who are the active participants in the movement and finding that there's still a coalescence, even though we disagree on certain aspects. So, you know, it's not a contradiction because, again, when, like I said, when I believe the minister brought that out into our community as a dynamic, it put things in a very egalitarian perspective. It equalized things. It shifted the attitude of, you know, that's them over there and they're a lower caste of people. You know, it shifted when it shifted my thinking in that process. You know what I'm saying? And just, you know, understanding, you know, from my spiritual leader, it's saying, okay, well, this is equal to that. And I'm like, wow, okay, well then if all sin is equal, then I'm not sitting up here being a judge to this brother I know who might be, you know, doing, you know, fornicating over here or lied over there. So then I don't need to have that same attitude when it comes to, you know, someone who's homosexual. Because
that
again,
sounds
I
like
think
a Hallmark card. Because you know what?
I mean, I'm just telling you.
I'm going to tell you why it sounds. I'm going to tell you why it sounds like a Hallmark
Cat.
card and why and not reality. Because you know that sounds okay. You saying that and I'm just saying you, and I'm, you know, I'm not coming at you, brothers, but you get what I'm saying. Like the people, the good people, you know, the good people, you know, the sinless people or the mildly sin people say, you know, that all sin is the same and equal. That's the equivalent of saying everyone's beautiful and everyone, you know, and damn well everyone's not, you're not attracted to everybody. You don't find everybody attractive and all of that stuff. Same type of like Hallmark card stuff. Because if let me just go ahead and throw it out. If Jeffrey Dahmer come walking up in there today, y'all not going to be like, well, his sins are equal with everyone else's. Like,
well, I'm not. Look, you know, maybe in my expression it sounds very Disney-like, but it's not. You know, so you know, so that's not my intention when it comes to that. But what I'm saying is, it shifted my perspective in relationship to that, and that was the paradigm. And you know, again,
it doesn't sound Disney to me. It sounds like hypocrisy. It doesn't sound Disney to me at all. It sounds like hypocrisy. Like you sound like when a white person says, I have a black friend, like, yeah, like, you know, I don't think that we're equal, but I do have a black friend. I get along with them. I work with them at my job. That's exactly what you sound like right now. Sounds to me like you're your religion, right? But that's what all religious people do, I found in my lifetime. There is not one religious person I met, and I'm sure they're out there. There are zealots and people that are like, I'm going from A to Z what this Bible says, and I'm not budging. I'm sure they're out there, but they're rare. The majority of people are like you, Ish. Like, it's like, hey, it's up to interpretation, and it doesn't really mean this. But the honor
No, well, let me say this. I say
but you
that because
you sound like a hypocrite. You sound like
what I see is
let me finish. You sound like you're getting the benefit from both worlds. Like, well,
no.
you know,
What just so.
But now I'm equal. I found out I'm equal to the gay people, right? But I've never heard you talk about fornicators. When you were talking about black manhood and what could possibly ruin black manhood, you didn't say fornication. As a matter of fact, you said that black men should be having babies because you even talked about babies. Okay. So you literally said that the gay thing can be looked at as a threat to black manhood. You never said fornication. That's why I call hypocrisy. The story is great that the minister said that, and you felt like, oh, I'm a sinner too. But you know damn well that it's not that's not how the LGBTQ is looked at. Like,
and I want to throw up when they bring up the babies. I always want to throw up because I'm like, do you realize how many black babies are in foster care right now? And who is adopting them? LGBT, right? And aborted black. It's like, you know, and so it's like, okay, so you want us to, okay, let's just, in you all's perfect world, okay, let's just erase everyone's not going to be LGBT anymore. Let's just, in a perfect world, okay, now we're all having babies. That don't work out too well. Like, that's not working out too well because it's not working out well now. We already have a bunch of people having black babies that are not being taken care of. Thank God there's the LGBT community to be able to scoop them up and love them and to raise them. You know what I'm saying? So people are looking at all of the dynamics and like, hold up. Well, maybe, you know, like, let's work together and say, like, you know, but it doesn't work that way. In the real world, even in your perfect world, it's going to be an imbalance.
Like, I guarantee, and this is without me looking at stats, I will put my life on, there are more black babies being aborted and more black babies being abandoned by black men than there are gay men in the community.
Right, but again, if you're spending your energy addressing it and you're actually making the case in relationship to the problematic dynamics of fornication. And the problematic dynamics of fornication is the breakdown of parentage and families and responsibility to the children that you create. So all that. What I'm saying is,
don't move the goalpost. Don't move the goalpost about fornication.
You brought it up, Mama.
Let's stay on black manhood and the threat to black manhood and the threat to the babies, because that's what the religious people don't want. They don't want people to be gay because gay men can't have babies. Okay, so let's stick to that. Gay men can't have babies, so you don't want gay men, because if gay men exist, then those black babies aren't coming, are they?
But well, let's address it. Let's address an additional issue.
There are black babies being aborted, and there are black babies being abandoned every single day by black men, not by the system. Okay? They're being abandoned by black men. Black men use their dicks with abandon. Okay?
Absolutely.
Abandoned. I know black women are the ones that are targeted. Well, you're a single mother, but black men use their dicks with abandon. In case somebody wants to clip it, okay.
Well, if we're going to talk about all the issues that raise concerns, let's also address the issue that if homosexuality, and this is just a conversation, homosexuality eliminates the need for the protection of black women. Why? Because when you look at women for the valuation as partnership and seeking pleasure, when you no longer seek pleasure from that woman, from your opposite counterpart, and she no longer becomes valuable to you. And if that is the case, then now there's no longer a need to provide some sort of protection. And that's why a lot of times when you talk about the manosphere, that there is this undercurrent of female hate that comes from a space of those who no longer see value in the pleasure of women. There is an argument that's coming out that where people are speaking on that
Wait a minute.
level.
So now we're blaming the LGBT. Now we're blaming the LGBTQ community for the savages in the manosphere, the men who are underdeveloped, who don't care about going out and making money, who don't care about going out and working out and looking like something when they're trying to entertain women. Now we're blaming the LGBTQ for the
I'm
hate.
not. It's not a blaming
Right,
of the
so I'm gonna go back. Wait a minute. I want to go back to a
LGBT.
point that Lily made. I want to go back to a point that erase all the LGBTQ from the planet, right? Erase all of them. Black incels are still going to exist. Underachieving black males are still going to exist. Fat black males, black men with receding hairlines, black men that refuse to fucking compete with white men or other races that make more money, black men that are unattractive, black men that don't give a fuck about hygiene, okay? Black men are still going to be fucked, all right? Excluding the LGBTQ.
Nothing will change.
Nothing.
I agree.
Nothing. Not
Zero.
one thing.
Zero will change. Black men are still going to run rampant on YouTube, hating black women, criticizing the women that they make single mothers. Okay. That's still going to exist. But I like how, isn't it funny how, you know that joke? Isn't it funny how the LGBTQ is the issue when the biggest issue is that the black man, okay, doesn't do what they're supposed to do. They're having babies out of wedlock, using their dicks with abandon, blaming black women for everything. That's the biggest issue. Like the LGBTQ should be the last. It shouldn't even be on the list. But like,
Well, Jen, you're saying in this conversation that the LGBTQ is the issue, and we're not.
Do not talk over me because we're not going to do that here. Okay, it shouldn't even be on the list. But if it is on the list, it should be the last thing. But I love it how black men have a knack for finding a fucking excuse for every fucking thing under the sun. And it's never them. It's never them. Why do black men in the manosphere hate black women? Well, because the LGBTQ, once two men get together, well, that removes the reason to protect black women. And that's why the manosphere has no desire for black women. Well, what about all these? What about the babies? Well, the reason why black babies are at risk is because black men are with other black men. Never mind abortion. Never mind all these fucking black assholes who use their dick with abandon and have kids with different women. It's not their fault. It's the LGBTQ. Like there's always a fucking excuse for everything, and it's never y'all. Like it's never y'all. Like it's. I want to know what y'all responsible for because it's never y'all. Like it's never. It's the white man. It's the COVID virus. It's white supremacy. It's the LGBTQ. It's the man. It's media. It's the Jewish man. It's the Jewish man. Jewish man. Like every fucking week, somebody else gets the blame. Somebody else gets the blame. What the fuck what are y'all responsible for? What are y'all responsible for other than measuring your dicks? Like, what are y'all responsible for? And that's a real question. I want to hear what black men are responsible for. Let me hear that.
I mean, black men.
Before I do that, let me read what Tristan said. Tristan said, don't think nobody jump ahead of blacks when American legislation is issued for Americans for discrimination. It is for all Americans. We as a community are slow to move our feet to capitalize off of it.
Right. That's the bottom line right there. That's right. That's it right there. Like, don't get mad because other people stick together and get it done and they don't use distractions. It's all of these distractions why nothing is getting done, because it's like you're distracted using LGBT or women or this is as a distraction. That's why nothing is getting done, because none of those things.
Did you see how long they stayed on the Jewish?
Right.
Did you see how long they stayed on the Jewish? And please, someone tell me what was accomplished. And people were hella mad. They were like, we're the real Israelites. We're the Jews. Watch that movie on Netflix. Hurry, hurry. That's going to free you. Hurry, look at what they're doing us. It's the media. It's the Jewish man. And we're right back here talking about the LGBTQ.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what black men are responsible for, because they're not responsible for, nothing. I mean, zero, zip, nothing, nada. They're not
Jen, you know, you like
nothing. What is their
again,
problem?
I'm not negating the responsibility that we have not taken control and responsibility to our own community and our own relationships, and that we are accountable. I'm totally addressing that. I'm in agreement with that. I'm not saying that it's the LGBT and that's the only thing, and it's the Jews and that's the only thing. There are nuances to all of this. And all I'm presenting is different dialogue and different things that are being expressed, and we're having a conversation about that. So,
But the nuances are the problem, though. You do understand.
well, there is not one singular problem either, Jen. It's not. It's not just.
Wait a minute, but it is though. I disagree with you. I really do disagree with you, and I vehemently. There is one problem.
What's the one problem?
The black man individually does not take responsibility for his own life and his own actions. That is the one problem. It is not white supremacy. There are too many black successful people in this country where you claim redlining, supremacy, racism, right? There are way too many black successful people in this country. You can't do that where it's only Oprah. It's only Oprah. There's a myriad, okay? A plethora of black excellence in this country where you're constantly talking about white supremacy and redlining and racism and oppression. You can't use that anymore. So there is really only one problem.
You can use that when you look at the masses of black people.
What masses? You're 13% of the fucking population.
Yeah, but that 13% of the 17 million of the 17 million.
There is black excellence. What is your excuse?
If there are 17 million black people and you have 500 millionaires, that is a disparaging number.
Okay,
you
and
cannot deny that reality.
What is the reason? Let me hear this. What is the reason for the disparaging number? The redlining? The Jewish.
And you live in America just like I do.
The LGBTQ.
You live in America just like I do.
Wait, the Asians.
You live in America just like I do.
Jared Taylor?
You live in America just like I do, sis. You know where the problem is. You know why the problem is.
And I do know what the problem is. And that's across the board. I don't care if you black, Latin, white, yellow, green, blue, or purple. The number one problem is, what the fuck are you doing with your 24 hours?
Have that attitude at 18 or 19. You're going to make it out of certain situations, but not everybody's built like that. So what Ish is saying, there are obstacles, and I think we're all agreeing. There are the difference in school systems, the fact that you can go to school, like my kids go to a school where I don't worry about people carrying guns there, right? I don't have these stresses of society. I think he's got some validity to what he's saying. At the same time, it shouldn't be an excuse. I mean, not every, like Haran said, there's a certain amount of people going to get out and a certain amount of people that aren't going to get out. But I don't want to dismiss what Ish is saying, because he's got, redlining was a thing, right? I mean, there are obstacles there, and I shouldn't be the one to say everybody on this panel's got to know that, right? But not everybody's built like you, Jen. Not everybody's built like Lily. So when it becomes, if you just put comparison between, say, the white community, the Asian community, and black community, and everything, and you look at, there are certain obstacles that more people in certain communities are going to fall out, and it comes to the fact that, but there are responsibilities as well, like and Ish isn't for single moms. So you have a baby at 15 or 16, you don't have a support system. Yeah, that baby's going to have a harder time, not impossible, but a harder time getting out of certain situations because they're starting off at a lower point. But if you have an attitude like what you're saying, Jen, anybody, you're right, anybody can make it. Anybody can overcome these obstacles. That's what I think. So I think Ish has some good points, but it's not.
I agree with you. I don't want people to get confused that I don't think that I talk about white supremacy all the time. I used to be fucking militant. Okay. I was like, I was all about Khalid Muhammad and Farrakhan. And I was like, what the fuck is this? This shit is going in a circle. It really does put you in the fucking mind frame of just staying, it's because I'm black, it's because I'm Puerto Rican, it's because I'm Latino, it's because I live in the Bronx. They really, those type of religions, they put you on a fucking racism hamster wheel and you get nothing done. The only thing you do is you become a nice little minion for the motherfuckers on top. Okay, that's all you fucking do, whether you're Christian, Muslim. That's all. They keep you in the state of mind of a have-not, and a have-not because of white supremacy, and you're fucking running on a hamster wheel, and before you know it, life is passing you by, and motherfuckers are becoming millionaires, and everybody's succeeding, and you're on a hamster wheel. No, it's white people, it's white people. So I was like, hold up, what the fuck is this?
Or the devil.
Right, or the devil. I was like, what is this? I'm getting the fuck off this hamster wheel. Y'all can have it. I'm going to use my 24 hours to do what the fuck I got to do. Y'all could go over there and cry about you black or Latin, and that's why the life is happening to you. I was like, I'm out of here. So I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it doesn't fucking exist. I'm not saying that we have the worst fucking school system. I'm not saying that I attended the worst fucking school system. I'm not saying that I fucking, I've worked at jobs and faced racism and things and what have you. Of course that exists. But it's to the point where, Fahim Jackson, thank you so much for the super chat. We as Black people have normalized dysfunction to the point of reliance, and welfare has a lot to do with it. We will straighten out once the aid is pulled back. I believe that. I believe
That's a tough one. Yeah, a tough reality.
Yeah, but it's a complicated conversation to have, because then you can bring in, like, say, Erica coming from Colombia, where the competition is fierce, right? Competition is fierce there. And come to a country like this, and I'm like, you're going to run circles around everybody in the office that's born here. You know what I mean? And obviously she's not white, and yeah, I mean, she excels. She doesn't let, so I don't know. There's a lot of nuances, like Ish is saying. But it's just for the group, and sometimes you gotta leave. I don't know. Maybe it's talking from a white person, but people are gonna get left behind. Not everybody's gonna make it out. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's I just hate the excuses. Donovan, hi. Veganista, yes, it's past the 2-hour mark. Past the 2-hour mark, I turn into a fucking gremlin.
I mean, ultimately, I believe that we all have our own form of excuses, and we utilize them conveniently. And to not turn it into a back and forth and doing that the whole time, that's the ultimate reality. So whether we blame, one group, or we blame cultural training, or we blame something, there is always some sort of affect to where we are today. There is a cause and effect, and that's my only point. I'm not blaming somebody saying, "Oh my God, I'll never be successful because of this," or it's the ethereal devil that's causing me to do this or that. The ultimate reality is that there's a cause and effect, and when you identify it, then you make aggressive changes into changing your life. That's my only point.
Well, that wasn't your point earlier.
That was my point, but I kept getting muted. That's why.
No, that wasn't your point. Your point was the redlining and the school system and the disparaging poverty and this and
that's
that.
identifying. That's identifying. Just like if you go outside without a jacket and you catch a cold, that's identifying what is a possible cause to the problem.
Whatever, dude. The lies you tell.
Whatever.
You're trying to come at me about my shit like you knew what was in my fucking head.
Yo, I'm more of a civilized man. I'm not gonna go tit for tat with you like that, but
I felt like I gotta.
I never tried to be a millionaire. I'll be a fucking millionaire.
Come on, stop.
I'm fucking busy.
I felt like I was a fly on the wall in one of Jen's relationships where they were having an argument.
No, Saint, you have no fucking idea.
No, Saint. Let me just say, this one, a knife didn't come out, so it's all good.
Yeah.
I know what Jen says. She says, this looks like a good idea, but you don't want
people do not understand that.
Look, said in the chat, like, it's because I was in the Bad Boys. I never in my life dated a bad boy. You motherfuckers are so fucking corny and stupid and delusional. You think everybody is the fucking same. This motherfucker talking about, oh, because I like bad boys, like black women like that. What the get off my dick. Okay.
I missed that one.
Get off my dick. I've never dated a bad boy. I've dated the opposite of bad boys.
You've always said that.
I've always said that. Never. Everybody, oh, you from the Bronx. You like the guys in the Timberlands. I've dated the opposite of those guys.
That's funny.
Ooh, Lily, he took me there. Low. This man is trying to tell me what I done did for the past fucking 40 years of my life. No, sir.
I just went ahead and put my thing on mute. I said, okay. I was looking for my popcorn, but I didn't bring it with me.
Lily, I know you laughed when you said that last thing. I was like, oh, shoot.
He went on shit. He put his on mute. He went on shit. He said, I'm not going to get my point across anytime soon.
Well, I just want to say I love you guys and thank you for being patient to get that out. But that shit fucking triggered me. Like, not a regular gun, like a bazooka with the fucking, he fucking put the bazooka on his fucking shoulder. It wasn't a regular trigger. Like, right. I fought hard to get to where I am fucking mentally. Don't tell me I was there back then. Because if I was there back then,
right,
it would be different right now.
Right.
I worked hard. I fought through a lot to get to where I'm to the point where it's like, oh, you ain't up to standard? Yeah, you're gone.
Yes. Right. It's a journey, and that's the thing. I don't think people are willing or want to do the journey. They just don't.
Yeah.
Because it's a journey. Coming from somebody who used to make fast money and did prison time for making fast money, one of the hardest things for me to do was to come out and say, you know what? I already know what the results are there. I already know what it looks like when I play the victim because I've been doing it all my life. And we're not going to negate that all of those things exist, and what's funny, Jen, and so I started doing things different and things started happening. I had one setback, and it's when I got it with a bum. That was the only setback. And it's the
fucking disease.
Yes. And everything that you were saying is what I was doing. I basically loving the potential, right? And it was like, oh, if I just do this and if I just do that and da. And I have enough fortitude for us both to lift us both up, And it was just no problem. I mean, how long has it been? 2017 is when I left the bum, right? Still at the same exact place in life today.
That shit is fucking insane. Tristan is funny. You're right. You're absolutely right, Tristan. I didn't date the bad boy. I was the fucking bad boy.
Right.
Thank you, Tristan. No, but it's true. And that's why, I pride myself. I pat myself on the back because I blame myself. And there is so much power in taking accountability for the choices that we make. That is the problem with the majority of fucking people. It's like, it's his fault. It's her fault. It's my mother. My mother should have been better. My father. Yeah, maybe my mother could have been better. Yeah, maybe my father could have been.
I did all of that.
But guess what? Now I'm here by myself now. Now what? Now what you got? So it was totally my fault. Atheist, no, you dumb fuck. I don't have bad luck. I only dealt with 2 bums in my life. The other men are fucking amazing. It was just time to part ways. No, I don't have bad luck. I know very, very good men, and I'm grateful for it. And guess what? They're black. Okay, they're black. All right, very self-determined men.
Right.
Because I dealt with them too doesn't mean I have bad luck. Okay,
exactly.
I think I'm allowed 2 in a whole lifetime.
Hello.
I'm allowed 2, right? Even
right. We can kiss a couple toads.
Right. But yeah, no, it was totally my fault. I wasn't in the right headspace. Totally my fault. And it's so freeing to say that.
It is.
But men out there that could do it, because men have a hard time doing this, just say it out loud. It was my fault. It wasn't white supremacy. It wasn't redlining. It wasn't the bum. It was my fault because I indulged.
You know what my spiritual advisor used to say to me every single time I came to them with something, because I didn't even realize that that was my mentality, right? Every single time I came to them with something, no matter how good it sounded in my head, no matter how plausible it sounded in my head, every single time, this was the question they asked me. And so today, they're dead and gone. They don't even have to ask me this question. I ask myself this question. What part did you play in this situation?
See?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a much easier to want to externalize and less, you don't want to be critical of your own self,
Right.
there's a lot of truth to that. Like when it comes to yeah, there are a lot of obstacles, but if you can do something about it, it means you have to, if you look at yourself and say, what can I do different? You might have to work a little harder. You know what I mean? Like, and not a lot of people, and people are different. That's what I'm saying. Jen's not that way. She's going to take bull by the horns and do what she's got to do, at least now.
At least now, though. You get what I'm saying? Like, we're both sharing that we weren't.
Yeah, right,
and we paid the consequences, and then we did something different and got different results.
Yeah.
This is the best I've ever been financially, focus-wise, where I'm telling you, before, I used to have like that little soft space, like, oh, well, I'll give him another shot. I'll give her another shot. One time, you're gone. And if you have to, and if you have to, like, you have to give me a reason. Like, call me, make effort to be like, I can't do it because X, Y, and Z, but I want you to know this is but just that flaky shit, that flaky shit, that kind of like, oh, I don't really care, this isn't important to me. Bye. Goodbye. Because I'm fucking tunnel vision, and people will see. And it's funny because there is a saying that goes, work so hard that motherfuckers have to get to know you again. The problem with people is that they think that you're that same person that they knew and they want to bring you back, which is what Ish just did. And I'm not picking on you. I got love for you, Ish. But what you just did is a great example of when you were at your lowest point. The motherfuckers that knew you at your lowest point, they think that that's you. No, honey, that was me at my lowest point. Me now is a whole different person. So you'd have to get to know me again. That is why someone that had a shot back in the day with me doesn't have it now today.
Mm-hmm. I always say, oh, you should have called me 10 years ago, baby. You would have had a chance. So I always say that.
Jen, that means no coffee date?
No coffee. I never went on a coffee date, though. No one has ever asked me on, I don't know. I didn't even know the fucking coffee date phenomenon. No one's ever asked me on a fucking coffee date.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely it's a learning experience. I like what Tap Records said. What did he say? He said, your circle can set you back. The old saying goes, if you are the most successful person in your circle, you need to find a new circle. Or even the most determined, even the most determined, or even the most passionate. And and here's the thing, and it's not even no love loss. It's just you're not for this part of my life or this part of my journey, and that's
the season's up.
Yes,
that's all.
That's all.
We talked about that the other day, Jen. That history is sometimes best left in its moment in time for what it was then.
Yeah, because what happens is this is my analogy because I learn best and teach best in analogies. This is what it is like when you try to carry something or someone into the new season. It becomes very uncomfortable. It's the same thing as we're in winter in New York right now, so it's appropriate for me to wear my fur. And I'm gonna look cute. I'm gonna feel good. It's functional and fashionable. It's in season. Okay, spring comes. It's a little toasty, but I like my fur, damn it. So I'm gonna continue to wear it. Now, people are kind of giving me the side eye. I'm a little uncomfortable. The people see I'm looking a little, they see it more than I feel. It's a mutual thing. Summer comes. I'm still in love with this stupid ass fur, but everyone It's like, why is this? Everyone around you can see that this bitch needs to take off this fur.
Right.
I know it's uncomfortable, but I'm so attached to this fur. And so I had to realize when the season was up, and it's okay. It's so okay. And it's not my responsibility to take on their feelings when I kindly let them know that the ride stops here. Thanks for the memories. I'll always think highly of you. I'll take all the great things, and I want you to take all the great things. If you don't, you can call me a dirty bitch, whatever feels best for you.
And we're not, you know, we're not anomalies. Every success story has that group of people.
Right.
She went Hollywood. She used to be this. I was there back when. I gave her that idea. I was there with every successful story has those characters in it. Every single one. Once you blow them. I love what Don Levon said here. He said, you'll realize that it's not that you need people to help you. Sometimes you just need people just to get and stay out of your way.
Out of your way.
I love that. Yeah. Well, this was a colorful conversation. We did start with cancel culture, didn't we, Lily? we
was around there. You know, we touched on it. You know, we meddled in it.
Leave poor Ish to come after the 2-hour mark. I'm in gremlin mode.
Yeah, Ish got canceled.
Right, he just got canceled.
No, we love Ish.
I love us. I really do.
No, Ish is I always respect his he I feel bad sometimes for him, like when we're going on what his beliefs are, but I always respect, his he answers everything, he takes it. So
right.
Ish can handle it. He
Ish is the Ish.
Right. Ish is the Ish. He probably logs off like, fuck them people.
I know. He cussing us out right now. We singing his praises.
Like, fuck them people. Let me eat this bean pie.
I'm done.
Jen, do you think men should follow Andrew Tate? I don't know enough about that man. I have to, that's a great question because his name is buzzing. I've seen a couple clips, but I have to know more about him in order to answer that.
It's a rabbit hole. I've been going. It's a lot. I've been going down it. I haven't reached a conclusion yet because it's very layered. It's interesting. I love shit like that. So I'm going down the rabbit hole because he's a lot and it's a lot.
Okay.
I have to look him up. I have no idea who he is.
And you have to.
Who Tate is, and you frequent YouTube? No saying.
I do.
Oh, I was about to say. Oh, you're being sarcastic.
No. I really. Who is he? You said he's into what? What is he?
Is he a red pill or manosphere guy? Is he
he's originally a kickboxer type guy and turned manosphere guy. Like he blew up in a year and just like blew up, like super rich and like has a cult following. But I did send you that thing though. That was interesting. That's what started me going down that hole that I sent you. Because I was like, interesting. I was like, this guy's mind is very
No Saint, check him out. He's intense. He used to be a UFC fighter, a very good one.
I think I heard of him. Now that you mention it, I do believe I don't know if I've watched him, but I have heard of the kickboxing guy that's on YouTube.
Like I watched it for a little bit, but I'm just like, ooh, it's too like he's dark though.
Yes, but he's
supposed to be like, oh, then this is what you should do with your life, but it's dark.
Yeah, it's
right. I always question not necessarily this guy, but the guys that have the huge bodybuilders and they're like, eat your spinach and work out and and then they're doing the steroids behind the scenes.
Yeah, see, with him, he's the perfect example of what I was talking about earlier when two things can exist in one space. He is that perfect example of that. He's extremely intelligent. And then dark at the same time.
Yes. He's been attached to sex trafficking, No Saint.
Ooh.
Twice. He's arrested. Is he still in jail?
No, and even that is a lot. I don't even want to go down that because I'm still learning, and there's a lot of conflicting stuff going on because basically the country that he was. Okay, so let me give you what I know thus far, and why because there's a lot of people saying like, if you go through his stuff, he's put a lot of underlining messages in his talks, and a lot of them go against the government, our government. And so the country that he was in is one of the most like notoriously corrupt countries in the world. And then you can literally buy the country to, you know what I'm saying? Like the country's for sale to get what you want. And so
it's not Romania.
Romania.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody was talking about this guy today. Okay.
Yep. And so he was locked up, but the way he was locked up was really weird because it was like, okay, if he did do something, this wouldn't be the way it's handled legally. Like there's no legal recourse of the way it's done. Not saying that he didn't do it. No one's saying that. No one's saying he's innocent or guilty. I don't know. And no one knows really right now. It has to come out in the rents, right? But we can all suspect. But
right, and this is the second time though, right? That he's been arrested for that.
Yeah, I'm hearing more about the second time than the first time. But I'm gonna keep looking because what the legal people were saying, there's a lot wrong on the legal side of this. Something's fishy. That's what a lot of the legal people are saying.
Yeah, I mean, but you notice we spoke about him briefly the other day when we were talking about these guys that really blow up in that space, that manosphere space. Like it's real weird.
It's very weird. And if you're going to be doing something, why be so visible? Because he's extremely visible. So it's like, dude, I don't know. I'm gonna keep going, and I know if I look at enough stuff, then I'll be able to make
but then there's also there's a lot of power. He has a lot of power. I mean, he grew up rich from what I heard. He has 30-something cars. He's a millionaire.
I heard about that. Yeah.
And his dad his dad is tied to intelligence as well.
Right. So it's like sometimes you can get to that level and feel untouchable and do some foul shit with women. So you don't know. And he's intense. Like I'd be afraid to date that guy to sit across from him. The way he talks, like I'm like, oh no. No.
Yeah, he was real off. He was off. He was that insane intelligence.
Right. He sounds like one of those weirdo geniuses.
Yes, there you go.
Like that talk really fast and it's like this and blah, blah, but they're smart. Like everything they're saying is like, oh, okay. But then they're like, no, I don't know. I can't picture him even like sexually or being with no. Like put her in a chokehold.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. Thank you, Top Records. Top Records said the #1 podcast on YouTube. I love your panel. We love you back. Well, listen, we have real conversations up here. Can nobody say we up here faking the funk? Okay, we got people from all walks of life. Well, guys, this was fun.
I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
It's always fun.
Per usual.
I love how it's like a family. And when Ish said that, I was like, and everybody was like.
I know people get to watch our dysfunction real time, right? Like it's insane. And this is how we're starting on 2023.
Oh my gosh. And everybody was like, and that family member was like, oh shit, here it comes.
Yeah, I was just like, it's like I was at the table and I'm just eating my mashed potatoes,
Oh, this was great.
That was funny. Ish is fine.
I know.
I'll call him later. I'll call him.
Right. We love Ish.
Yeah, I always talk to him after. I don't know who Sneeko is. I don't know. Listen, these y'all be knee deep or neck deep in these characters on YouTube. Yeah. I don't know who Sneeko is. I have no idea who that is.
I don't know who that is. Sneeko. That's a funny name though.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I don't even know how to pronounce that.
He sounds scary. I don't trust him.
Thank you to everyone who who supports the channel and comes through. Even you lurkers, you know what I'm saying? You keep me in the algorithm. Please hit that like and subscribe for me. If this is your first time here ever, welcome. Welcome, new family member. You're going to get more of this. Tomorrow's show, if you pay child support, you're going to want to be here and listen to what this man is going to say, how he beat the system. He explains, he does it better than me. He explains how child support is illegal and how he fought the system back. And it's going to be an amazing, amazing, very informative show tomorrow. So if you have any opinions on child support, I have very strong opinions about child support myself. The pick-me's will not like what I have to say tomorrow about the child support, but he's going to come on. We spoke on Facebook, and it was just compelling, like his story, like the way he got around it and all the little nuances and laws. And I was like, how the fuck you got out of child support?
Okay, I have something I need to say to this.
Uh-oh.
You need to get a disclaimer put up in front, because I can hear people, he's going to be telling you how to do it, and then somebody's going to get thrown in jail, because it reminds me of a guy. It reminds me of a guy I knew. Say you don't have to pay taxes, and then the tax, and he's got all these.
So listen. I am paraphrasing, and I'm not speaking for him. I don't know if he's literally like not paying child support, but
what he said
better than me.
Just put say it at the beginning of the show.
You're not
giving legal advice. That's it. That's all you gotta say.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Noted. Because he's definitely not teaching this. This was his personal story. And I just found it very interesting. I was like, wait a minute, did you use it? Because we was in a conversation on a Facebook wall. And he was like, no. And I was like, dude, how did you do that? And he was like, yeah, because blah, blah, blah. So I asked him, hey, would you come up on the panel and explain that? Because that shit is interesting as fuck. Like, you know. So the way he explained it. So I'll say that in the beginning, because he's not an attorney. It was just his personal story with child support. And I just asked him, would he share it with us? And he was like, yeah. So he will be here tomorrow. I think it's going to be very, very interesting and maybe informative for some folks, but I don't want nobody to go to jail. Nobody go to jail. All right. Okay, guys, I guess we're out of here. This was lovely. Thank you so much, my wonderful, beautiful panel. Thank you for holding me down. Thank you, No Saint, for hanging in there, waiting to get your word in. No Saint was like double dutch. He was like, do I jump in here? Do I jump in?
Right.
Do I get in there? Really, you are fucking.
It's always fun.
Didn't I say in the beginning, they need us?
Right. Like, oh, but listen, it's coming. We're attracting it. We're going to attract everything we need this year. That's just how it works. I totally stand on that. I believe in attraction, so it's going to happen. It is.
It's going to happen. It's just going to see.
Right. Right. We just got to do what we got to do.
It's going to see. Oh, he says Sneeko is a 20-year-old version of Andrew Tate. Oh, okay. Lord. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. All right, guys, we will see you tomorrow. Any parting words, panel? It's faded to black.
He canceled himself. So it's a wrap for him.
Any final thoughts, or are we out of here?
I think we're out of here. Tristan didn't come up with his Mr. Holland Opus.
I'm going to have to dismiss the class myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are out of here.
Good night.
Good night. Woo! This was good. I felt like I worked out.
That's a good one. Good show. Good show.
All right. Love you all.
Love you all. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night. All right, guys. If you are still here for any reason, hit that like and subscribe on your way out. If you like the show, discuss it with your friends. Invite them over. And don't forget, you're always welcome on the panel to rebut. It's not safe. But you can come up and rebut, retort, contradict, debate, whatever you like. We are doing faces now. A lot of people still try to come up with their avatars. I need your face. Okay, I need your face. It's 2023. Or you can stay popping your shit in the chat. Thank you for being here. I see y'all tomorrow. Let's talk about this child support thing. It's going to be an interesting conversation. All right? Hit that like and subscribe on the way out. Don't forget to support Mama keep the church lights on. Cash App right there. If you're catching the replay and you didn't get to super chat me, you can Cash App me, buy me that smoothie. All right, guys, class dismissed, like Tristan says. It's okay, Tristan. Good night, Dawn. And we're out. Tap Records, you ain't scared. You're going to be here tomorrow. Good night.